read it beforehand and then join the stream later. But I'm really excited. How is it? Hi, Sam. Hello, YouTube. Hi, Tegan. Hi, YouTube. Okay, let me put this over here and let me share screen. Chapter 18 open here right now for some reason. And here's the thing. I couldn't find caviar in my area. I apologize. It's also freezing cold out there. I went out like this morning once and like my face was getting attacked. Like it's so cold out there. Hi, Aaron. Oh, I'm so excited to see your reaction to Redacted. Is this the same Redacted that Jaime was talking about? Because I feel like it is. Dude, I just read it while at work. It's so good. My YouTube is I just changed the username to artyzara, or the handle is Arty Enjoys Life. So it's also linked in my bio if you want to go through there. Yeah, it's Arctic Winds time. It's so bad. I like went out because I had to pick up something I got something from, oh my god, thank you, Aaron. Thank you for that. I had to pick up something that I purchased off of Facebook Marketplace, and it's like 5 blocks away from me. But I went out and it's so bad. It's the type of cold where like you go out, your face starts burning, and then you start crying because it's so cold. It's so bad. Hi, cheese. Oh my god, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever. Oh my god, Tegan, happy birthday. Yay. Please, I I am honored that you're spending your birthday here, but I hope you do some other things for yourself as well. I'm really honored, but yeah, happy birthday. Just don't spend your whole birthday at the computer. Do something fun. Go out. Have fun. Um Hey. Hi, Nad. What's up? What's up? Okay, I'm gonna make this a bit smaller. GTC stream, but I'm GTC streams are always a great way to celebrate that. I appreciate that. Anyways, this is chapter 25. Caviar drowned in ketchup. I can do like a ketchup shots to like get into the spirit, but I do not have caviar. Sorry, y'all. You finally start a stream when I'm off work? Hell yeah, let's go, let's go. Yeah, I was available this weekend, so I'm glad about that. Summary: one giant bowl of caviar at a Michelin restaurant. Who needs a giant bowl of caviar? I hate rich people. 5 3/4 tablespoons of ketchup. Thank you for the specificity. 9 bajillion shark facts. A breath. Thank you, Jaime. Ketchup shot is diabolical. I have those like little Heinz ketchup, like the double the I guess double duty ones where you can either like peel it and like you use it as a dip, or you can like squeeze it and like use it as like more of a ketchup bottle type thing. I might end up doing that. That's why you asked about caviar on the server. If you don't have caviar, do you at least have 9 bajillion shark facts? No, I don't. I wish I was knowledgeable about sharks, but they're not really my area of interest. I have other facts from my area, my niche areas of interest. I do know that they will be going to the American Museum of Natural History, which Dino and I went there and we were like, oh my god, Zoe would love being there, and now it's in GTC. So we manifested this. Actually, like we either manifested it or like we're psychic. So anyway, notes. Random story, but bear with me. Okay, interesting way to start out. Random story, but bear with me. It's a really good museum. I promise I'm not about to talk about my girlfriend for no reason, though I would anyway. When we were kids, we lived on the same street in the Philippines for a year, but never met. We were also in the same area for a college tour in our senior year. We were one row away at a Twice concert a year before we met. We had mutual friends for years who talked about us adjacently until we properly talked to each other. Oh, so they're like really Zorumi. Okay, we get it. Jaime, why are you telling us about this? This is so homophobic. You cried out. Well, it's because it's part of the reason why I'm so enamored with the idea of inyan. K dramas do, in fact, have some truth to them when it comes to those destined meetings. And because you're about to see it with Zorumi in the next few chapters, that's very sweet. That is so sweet. That's the sweetest, like, author's note I've ever read, maybe. That is so cute. What the hell? I'm thinking, like, is there anyone I've met that, like, kind of, like, relates to that? I like kind of like that situation. I do not know. That is so awesome. Man, I'm so happy for them. They're so sweet. Hi man, List being adorable as always. Yes. We have not started reading. Give me a second. I'll take a sip and then we'll start reading. Yeah, Jaime also found a cousin because of GTC. Shout out Cal. Shout out Cal. As the owner of a beautiful, expensive cat that she stole from her pseudo brother slash ex classmate slash friend, who is somehow an idol in Korea, Zoe isn't new to waking up sweating and Loki dying because her cat decided that the best place to sleep was on her face. When she flew across the country, she just didn't expect that she'd be feeling it again. Interesting start. Interesting start. Okay. Feverish and hot, Zoe gasps under her breath and squirms. She's still half asleep, and her eyes can hardly adjust to the dark of the room, illuminated by her favorite manta ray nightlight in the corner. But the weight across her body won't let her go back to sleep. Zoe lifts a hand and tries to swat away at the thing across her chest. If Derpy knows what's good for him, he'll just give her one indignant meow and go away for the night. But the weight presses harder against her chest, and Zoe writhes with a groan. She gropes around in the dark to find the assailant, only to feel decidedly not fur. Warm skin, more like shaved skin? Who shaves their arm hair? Only serial killers, probably. And it can't be a snake, even though she certainly feels like she's being squeezed to death by one. Maybe it's Rumi groans at her side, a deep, holy groan. The sound makes Zoe flush warm, and she rips her eyes open and blinks as fast as she can to adjust to the dark. See, see, climbing into a twin bed with an idol who's probably used to a giant, comfy mattress wasn't the smartest thing in the world. Trying to compromise last night on sleeping positions was awkward enough. It was full of fumbling and nearly hitting each other in the eye, but they managed to work through it in the end. Kinda. Zoe's pretty sure she broke her neck trying to keep her head at that angle for the rest of the night. And clearly, that plan backfired. Because now Rumi is practically draped over her body, her heavy arm across Zoe's chest and holding her close like a child would a teddy bear, and her knee stays unignorable between Zoe's legs. The even ups and downs of Rumi's chest tells her that she has zero problem being where she is. Honestly, Zoe would have no problem with it too, if, she could breathe. But the problem is that if she tried to push Rumi off or woke her up to move maybe half an inch away, Rumi would take offense to it. Rumi would stop cuddling her and she would make it weird, and that means they would never cuddle again, and Zoe would ruin this precious little moment. And you know what? If she died here right now, that's fine with her. A-okay, actually. She's perfectly content with her life now. She got everything she could ever want. It just sucks that she never went to Disneyland, or, as if Rumi could hear how loud her thoughts are, she sucks in a deep breath and freezes. So does Zoe. Then Rumi shifts, her arm tightening in reflex around Zoe's chest before it relaxes, and Zoe can finally breathe. Rumi stirs, and she makes a small, confused noise in the back of her throat as her nose brushes against Zoe's collarbone. Oh, Rumi murmurs, her voice deep with sleep. Sorry, I didn't. It's fine. Zoe manages to squeak out. She clears her throat as Rumi slides away from her. A disappointing distance, too, but she doesn't say anything about it. Do you want to go back to sleep? Rumi inhales deep and she turns over her shoulder to paw for her phone on her nightstand. She clicks her phone open and Zoe waits in mildly tense silence for an answer. Then Rumi says, I shouldn't. My alarm goes off in 10 anyway. That's 10 more minutes to close your eyes for, Zoe points out. Sometimes I sleep in even if I know my alarm blurs in like a minute. Rumi exhales with amusement. She slides her phone back onto the nightstand and sits up on her elbows. She yawns and wipes at her eyes to dispel the sleep away, but Zoe only stays where she is. She's too comfy under the covers to do anything else. Rumi looks down at her. As sleepy as she looks, a small, wispy smile makes its way onto her lips. It makes Zoe's heart flip, and she looks away to stare at the ceiling. I didn't tell you last night, but you have a nice shirt, Rumi tells her, a mild edge of awkwardness to her words. Zoe dips her chin down to look at her shirt. It's the MILF Man I Love Fishing shirt that she got at the thrift store with Mira. She huffs out a short laugh. You think this is nice? She teases. Rumi looks away, and Zoe's happy to see the little splash of pink on the tips of her ears. Seeing it this early in the morning is such a treat. Usually, Rumi would be gone to God knows where by now in Burbank. It almost feels sacrilegious, in a way, to be in this kind of bubble with Rumi. Kind of like when Sims leave the house and she finds out where they end up anyway. A secret that should feel impossible and too easy to know all at once. I just meant that you always look like you have really comfy shirts, Rumi mumbles. Don't you? Zoe asks, a little confused. She huffs as she hoists herself up on her elbows. Some days it's harder to do than others. I mean, don't you have an entire wardrobe of silk pajama sets back home? Rumi seems the type to Rumi seems the type to. So does Mira. Rich people always have everything they need to make their lives easier, and that means never having to wear hand-me-downs from cousins or thrift for a nice shirt. I do, Rumi says, a little embarrassed. She scratches at her cheek and seemingly bites back another yawn. It's just that you always make your pajamas look comfier, I guess. At Zoe's half second of silence, Rumi blurts out, Sorry, I'm not making any sense. My brain's still, you know. Do you want me to make you anything for breakfast? Zoe sighs through her nose in amusement, then shakes her head. The thought of Rumi being embarrassed around her is ridiculous enough that she pointedly ignores it. She's lucky that she's only half awake right now, or else she'd be fully melting down at the idea of waking up next to her crush slash favorite idol slash friend slash housemate slash whatever. The beauty of denial, she'd say. I can make breakfast today, Zoe promises. You and Mira made breakfast the entire week. Let me do something for once. But please, she asks, pouting and looking up at Rumi through her eyelashes. That always seems to work. It does, and Rumi's shoulders slump in defeat. What are you making? Rumi asks her curiously, pulling her knees up to her chest to hug them and squishing her cheek against them. Zoe doesn't answer. She lets herself marvel at this intimate look at Rumi. Hair messy, eyes still droopy from sleep, and her face too soft to tense up at the responsibilities that lie ahead. She catches glimpses of Rumi like this on other days back home when she's still in the middle of making breakfast or cleaning the table as Zoe clambers down the steps, but never in bed like this. It's breathtaking. Rumi blinks and asks, Zoe? Sorry, thinking, Zoe blurts out. It's not exactly a lie. How do you feel about waffles? They're not that hard to make. Rumi puffs out a cheek and looks up at the same spot on the ceiling that Zoe was looking at to think, too. Zoe almost coos at how pretty she looks. Pretty sure the Airbnb owner left a waffle maker in the cupboard the last time I checked, and we have the ingredients for the batter, Rumi muses. She squishes her cheek back against her knee to look at Zoe. And we still have the leftovers from the chicken place that you two ordered for dinner last night. You could make. Ugh! Zoe makes a face. Don't even. Rumi raises her eyebrows in confusion. What? I was just going to say. I know, Zoe says with a groan, letting the back of her head hit the pillow. I don't like it. Rumi blinks at her a couple of times. You don't like chicken and waffles? No, she cries out. I mean, yes, I like both of those things separately, not together. Zoe! Chicken and waffles should never get married because they'd get divorced in my mouth in 2.5 chews. Zoe saying this is the funniest thing in the world. That is very funny. That is so funny. Rumi's mouth twitches. So, when you smothered your waffles in spaghetti sauce the other day, sweet and savory, Zoe says quickly. What's wrong with that? Or when you slapped a grilled hot dog on top of one and rolled it in. It's really good. It's basically just the corn dogs back home, but innovative. How about the gravy? Yum! The carbonara sauce? Rumi asks, a deep confusion plastered in the wrinkles of her forehead. With cinnamon batter? You're okay with all that, but not chicken and waffles? What's wrong with that? Zoe, what? You have chicken and waffles on every menu in America. Jaime self-inserted the chicken and waffles tape, by the way. We yelled at him about this! Jaime, what the hell? That is actually crazy. That is actually crazy, knowing what he does like. Chicken and waffles, bro. What is wrong with you? Who doesn't like chicken and waffles? That does feel like a Jaime self-insert, though. Like the vibe of it feels like a Jaime self-insert. That is crazy. um, I have nothing to say at this point. Like at this point, I've seen it all. I've seen it all. But for me, waffles are already a savory food. I mean, whenever I have waffles, the batter itself is kind of sweet. It depends on if you don't put sugar into it, then it can be savory. Cool. I keep going. You have chicken and waffles on every menu in America, Rumi says, still confused. What do you mean, yuck to that? That's like saying that I have to like lobster tenedor on the menu just because it's on there, Zoe retorts. No offense to Mira. Thermidor, Rumi corrects, but she's holding back a smile. Sorry, I'm still confused. What is it about chicken and waffles that you don't like? It's weird. Zoe reiterates. She doesn't understand the odd look that Rumi is giving her right now. Does she not believe her? It is. They just don't go together in my head. Waffles are a dessert food, and the chicken is a greasy eat during playoffs food. And if you try to bind them together with maple syrup, it's. She shudders. Gross. Rumi shakes her head with a breathless laugh. You're really cute, Zoe. This is just so brilliant. This is potato waffles are different. This is so. Oh my God, Dana's here. Hi. I thought you were gonna go to a baby shower. Hi, good to see you. Okay, that is so funny. I love that actually. You're really cute, Zoe. Out of all the things that Rumi could have said to her right now, that was at the very bottom of the list. Zoe blinks a couple of times, then says, What? You are, Rumi admits. She melts against her knee, and all Zoe can think is, God, you're so unfair. Why am I? Zoe stammers. She sits up to meet Rumi's gaze. Why am I cute for saying chicken and waffles? You just are. Trust me, Rumi tells her firmly. Do you want to lie in bed for a little longer? I was just going to get up to clean the kitchen. There isn't that much to clean up, Zoe promises. Mira and I did the dishes before you got home. I know, I just like making sure, she says, and Zoe sighs through her nose fondly. Rumi slips her legs out of the blanket, and the cold makes Zoe shiver. Rumi tucks the blanket back in as far as she can when she notices, and she laughs as she asks, Guess guessing you want to stay in bed for a bit? Can you turn up the heater while you're up? Zoe asks, sheepish. Rumi's smile is blindingly sweet. Zoe swears she can feel her teeth aching just looking at her, which is funny because her dentist told her that she had zero cavities. Of course, sweet pea, she replies. Just as Rumi makes a beeline for the door, Zoe calls out gently, Thank you, honeybee. Rumi freezes with her hand on the doorknob until she blinks herself out of her stupor, and it's like she's on fast forward as she slips out the door and gets ready for the day. Zoe tries not to snicker too much under her breath. Zoe slides around in the bed to make her way to the nightstand and grab her phone. She tucks the blanket under her chin while she scrolls through her notifications. Random stuff from her socials, a few emails about other content creators wanting to collab, her parents asking her how she's doing in the concrete jungle, and Mira. Mira? Mira's usually not up this early. In fact, she's usually the last one awake between the three of them. Outside the door, Zoe can hear the muffled sounds of Rumi moving around the Airbnb, creaking cupboards, the clink of ceramic, and a series of light clicks as she fiddles with the shitty heater. Zoe swipes up to, oh my god. Zoe swipes up to Mira's texts, which had been sent about 10 minutes ago. Mi amora. I can hear you two giggling through the walls. Key smash if you need help. She snorts under her breath. Ah, what would she do without her best friend? So easy on me. What would I need help for? I don't know. Probably because you can't look at her straight in the eyes. Yes, I can. Lol, okay. How was your sleep? I'm sus. Question mark, question mark, question mark. You never asked that. So I'm not allowed to ask how you slept? Nope. Unless you explain yourself, villain. Lol. I was just wondering how you slept through the night. Question mark, question mark. Did you guys? Yes, let's go. Did you guys, I love her so bad. Rage Bait Wingman Mira is so true. That's so funny. Dick. That's what you would use. That's what you would use, yeah. She's so funny. Oh, this fucker. Zoe grumbles under her breath. That is so funny. We're literally just into the chapter and we're already getting this. That is simply so brilliant. Oh, this fucker. Zoe grumbles under her breath. She turns over her shoulder in bed and rereads her conversation with Mira. She has a few choice words that she sends to Mira after that, but all Mira does is leave her on red. Which, of course, she does, because what else would she expect from her best friend? Zoe scrolls through the latest TikToks and replies to whatever notifications she'd missed. After gaining acclaim on Honmun, she's learned to take things in bite-sized pieces before she overwhelms herself with 5,000 mentions to sift through. It makes the high school kid in her get dizzy, realizing that she even has that privilege. There's that small, big, actually pretty big part of her that tells her she should reply to everything and please everyone, a voice she has to stomp down every time she opens her phone. She gets up from bed and does her morning stretches, as advised by two overprotective friends and a PT, before the warm bed beckons her any longer. Out in the small, conjoined living room and kitchen, Rumi is drying a bowl with her sleeves rolled up. She looks at peace while she hums to herself, and for a moment, Zoe lets herself bask in the glow of her smile. Simple pleasures like this make it so easy to face another day. The couch that Mira had occupied last night is notably empty. The blanket she used has been lumped into a ball on the couch cushions, and the pillow she used dips in the middle from the pressure of her big egg head. Her imagination conjures the image of Mira curled up like a snoring cat on the couch, and she holds back a smile. There's only one other place that Mira would be, if not the couch. Zoe, yup. Zoe skips over to the bathroom door and knocks twice. Then she inhales deeply and croons, Mira, do you want to build a store? Go away, Mira grumbles, voice muffled by the door. Zoe giggles under her breath. Man, New York's definitely kicking your ass, huh? This is like the fourth time since we landed that you've had to trap yourself in there. Zoe, Mira groans. Let me shit in peace. Zoe laughs a little under her breath. Shout out to Mira's IBS. Zoe laughs a little under her breath, then relents. Fine, fine. But if you ever need a soundtrack to cover up those plops, girl, you know I'm always Zoe. Cackling, Zoe slips away to allow Mira her last shred of dignity. Just a little bit of a revenge plot after what Mira texted her. It's not New York, Rumi says as she slides next to her in the kitchen. Zoe tilts her head. To clarify, Rumi adds, her stomach's just weird like that. I think the most time she had to sprint to the bathroom was 8 times in 6 hours. It was a company party of hers, I think. Zoe snickers under her breath, and Rumi elbows her between the ribs. Sorry, Zoe says, but she's really not. I guess sharing a bathroom puts your friends' shit into perspective, huh? Rumi laughs, and she puts the bowl away on the drying rack next to her. Why do you think I packed so much lactate in my bag? She says, rolling her eyes. She won't ever take it if you offer, by the way. You have to take it first, then you can ask her to take it with you. Good to know, Zoe muses. That's so funny. She conveniently leaves out the comment that she hasn't used lactate before because, for one thing, it's too damn expensive, and two, she's a big girl who isn't afraid of some milk stomach aches here and there. But now she knows Mira's stomach is on the line. Maybe it's time to do some reflecting. You didn't have to wash the bowl, you know, Zoe adds, looking over at the perfectly dry bowl on the drying rack. She smiles apologetically at Rumi. That's my bad. I swear I did the dishes last night before we started the movie. You did, Rumi assures her. Sometimes Mira just likes to eat a bowl of cereal at 2 in the morning if she can't sleep. Zoe perks up. Oh, yeah, she snaps her fingers. She likes to warm it up in the microwave so the milk is hot. The corner of Rumi's lips lifts at the thought. She shakes her head, then says, well, at least you never told her to add orange soda to it or something. That wasn't an invitation to try, by the way. Zoe clamps her mouth shut in disappointment. Rumi laughs, then nods her head at the waffle maker on the corner of the counter. Pulled it out of the cupboards for you. Do you need help making the batter? Nah, I got it in the bag, Zoe assures her. She puts her hands on her hips and looks around the kitchen to make a mental map of everything she needs to grab. Then she asks Rumi, you have a meeting to go to soon, right? Rumi exhales hard. Her shoulders slump. Unfortunately, she says, a little disappointed. Her hand twitches, almost touching Zoe's waist, before she shifts her weight from foot to foot and crosses her arms instead. What are you thinking of doing today? I forgot to ask you before we went to bed last night. Sorry. Zoe tilts her head at her. Oh, don't be sorry, silly pilly, she promises. You were probably pooped when you got home. No pun intended. I'm glad you watched the movie with us, though. Rumi's face softens. You asked me to, so of course I did. Ignoring the warm feeling that spreads across her chest, Zoe informs her. Prom's just gonna walk around the neighborhood with Mira and see what catches our eye. Did you know there's a museum of sex in Manhattan? There is, and I haven't been. I really should go. I'm curious. You want to go to the Museum of Sex? Rumi asks, incredulous. And not, I don't know, modern art or the Met, natural history. Rumi sounds so offended that Zoe can't help but guffaw as she busies herself around the small kitchen. Hey, they advertise the Museum of Sex in the freaking subway. So, like, I don't blame her for wanting to go there. I would want to go there. She takes out the flour and bowl while she answers. What? You don't want to go to the Museum of Sex? I'd argue that it would be just as educational. Leaning against the counter and rolling her eyes, Rumi drawls, you don't need to go to a museum for that when you can just learn here. That's crazy thing to say. Okay, they both raise. Zoe looks up at her, flour mid pour. Rumi rapidly blinks, then she quickly says, not like that. I mean, the interweb net. Mira's loud cackle as she emerges from the bathroom stops them both from spiraling. She yawns in between her laughter, and Zoe can't help but greedily eye her up and down. Something about seeing Mimi, hair down and messy, her glasses crooked, makes her want to bite down on her finger. You sound like Celine, Mira says, her voice still deep with sleep. Why did you say interweb? I was, Rumi hisses. Panicking, yeah, we know. Mira rolls her eyes. She has her fingers up in her hair, her wrist adorned with a silky hair tie that Zoe desperately wants to try and swipe from her one of these days. What's for breakfast? Do I need to go out and get something? You're sitting your ass right here, Zoe happily informs her. She clicks her tongue and bats at Mira's wrist to get her to put her arms down. Let me. You were in the middle of making something, Mira whines. And I can wash my hands after, dum dum, Zoe says, and Mira's eyes widen in that offended sort of way. It almost makes her laugh, but she's too concentrated on slipping Mira's hair tie off her wrist and gathering her thick hair into a messy bun. She's always been jealous of how long and thick Mira's hair can get. If she wanted to, she could have played a nice Korean drama version of Rapunzel or something, just with glaringly pink hair. But that would have been a nice twist. Zoe gently guides a few strands of hair to rest over Mira's cheeks. And done, she says proudly. Mira huffs, amused and a little embarrassed. You didn't have to, she lightly scolds. You look like you were falling asleep, Zoe teases. I'm surprised you didn't fall asleep on the toilet. With how long she took in there, Rumi says with a hum. She probably did. Mira tosses a glare her way, but Rumi just looks away with a small laugh. I'm gonna get ready, Rumi tells them, jabbing a thumb over her shoulder. Let me know when you're done making breakfast. I can probably spare a few bites before I have to leave. It better be more than a few bites, Zoe lightly warns. Rumi sighs, fond. I'll try. Then she's gone, disappearing behind the door to their bedroom, and Mira is already looking over her shoulder like a nosy child to see what she's doing. Zoe almost smacks her in the face with a spatula. Do you want me to help you with anything? Mira asks. Zoe wrinkles her nose and bats her away with a laugh. You know what would help? If you moved your stinky butt to the couch instead of my kitchen. My kitchen this, my kitchen that, Mira grumbles. You two never let me help when you make stuff. Maybe because it's not your turn to cook, you big baby, Zoe scolds. She mixes the ingredients for the batter with a fork. Go lie down and watch something. It doesn't take that long to make waffles anyway. Mira drapes her entire body against Zoe's back. You're so comfy, though, she mumbles. And you're so heavy, Zoe cries. Get off! Oh, I'm heavy now, am I? Mira mocks. For someone like me, yes, obviously. How are you going to get stronger if you don't test yourself? Mira asks, propping her chin on top of Zoe's head. Zoe tries to ignore it while she pours the batter into the warm waffle maker. And also, did you forget the sugar? Like I'd ever forget the sugar, Zoe grumbles. I have never forgotten sugar in my life. Mira snorts. That's what you said last time. That was one time! You suck! I suck for making sure that you're not poisoning us again. You suck for babying me. Oh, baby, you don't like it? Mira mourns, looking at her with a small pout. But I thought you liked it whenever I wrapped you up in a blanket and rocked you back and forth like a Mira! Zoe whines. Mira cackles out loud, but she stays a respectful distance from her so Zoe can do her job with her beautiful waffles. It's one of the many wonderful things she likes about Mira. She presses and presses, but not enough for the claws to dig in. The waffles already look great, just so you know, Mira tells her. Zoe huffs. They're still in the waffle maker. Then they smell great, Mira amends. She gives a light pinch to Zoe's side. Call me if you need me. Beat me if you want to reach me, Zoe sings songs under her breath. Mira pinches her a little harder and Zoe squeaks. Call me if you need something, she reiterates, but she's smiling. Zoe's low-key just me. I will song associate whenever I can. That is that is so me actually. Well, considering you're only going to be like 5 feet away from me on the couch, I sure hope I would, Zoe teases. Mira shrugs. I thought the same thing, but you have a bad tendency not to tell people you need help until the last possible second. Something about that zaps through Zoe's spine with uncomfortable precision. She weakly argues, I don't. Focus on the waffles before you burn one, Mira says, gentler than she'd been all day. She must have realized how her other comment came out and wanted to rectify it. Seriously, call me the second you need something, okay? Zoe sighs in fond exasperation. Yes, ma'am, she jests. That's my girl, Mira praises, and Zoe preens at the compliment. Before Mira slips away, she taps the opposite side of Zoe's shoulder. Zoe instinctively looks, and Mira presses a kiss to her cheek. She slips away before Zoe can comprehend how warm and soft her lips felt, or how she felt Mira's lips curve against her skin into a mischievous little smile. By the time it registers in her brain, Mira lifts a hand over her shoulder and tells her, no burnt waffles, Zoom. Right, right, she squeaks. Zoe clears her throat and she focuses her energy on making a few stacks of pancakes, waffles, before she can think about anything else. On the TV, Mira puts on Spectacular Spider Man for her. We're in Manhattan, and you said this was the best Spider Man show, she says offhandedly. Felt like the obvious choice. After Zoe takes the fifth waffle hot off the press, Rumi emerges from the bedroom. She's all glammed up for whatever place she has to go to, and Zoe can't stop her heart from palpitating, even if she tries. There's something so intimate about getting to watch Rumi do things like this. It's like peeling back the curtain on all the photos she sees online of Rumi, but 1,000 times better because the smile on Rumi's face is real and unfrozen. Smells good in here, Rumi comments. I think you're just smelling Mira, Zoe retorts. I saw the sly bastard spray perfume on herself under the blankets when she thought I wasn't. If you knew me at all, Mira says, offended, then you'd know I roll it onto my skin in the mornings. Rumi laughs. She joins Zoe in the kitchen to help put the utensils on the three plates, and she says, I don't usually like taking Mira's side, but she's right. You don't usually? Mira begins, wrinkling her nose as she looks over her shoulder. Besides, Rumi says over her, I'm sure I'm smart enough to know the difference between warm batter and perfume. Do you have a preference? Zoe asks out of curiosity. Not really, Rumi admits. Zoe smells like Do you remember what Zoe smells like, guys? Do you remember what Zoe smells like, by the way? Makes you think. Makes you think. Good to know. Maybe she should just start making pancakes and waffles for Rumi every morning until she falls into her trap or something. Or maybe she should be normal and stop thinking about it. Girl, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about a thing. Zoe and Rumi serve up the plates on the small table. Mira looks at them on the show, and she slinks over to join them. Breakfast isn't very eventful, just lots of teasing from Zoe and Rumi when Mira tries to reach over for the butter and they keep moving it away from her, and lots of blabber mouthing from Zoe while she info dumps on them about the lore behind the episode of the Spider-Man show still playing on the TV. Honestly, she's been spilling Spider-Man lore to them nonstop. She almost feels bad. Almost. Rumi clears her throat when she's down to the last quarter of the waffle. She plays around with the portion on her plate as she asks, "So, you're both taking a tour of the neighborhood when I leave?" "And visiting the Museum of Sex," Zoe happily adds, and Mira snorts under her breath. "And probably stopping somewhere to eat. Do you want us to bring anything home?" "As long as you two come home, I don't mind whatever you bring." Rumi says, and the easy way that she says it puts a warm pit in Zoe's stomach. Her eyes flick down to her plate. "I hope you two have fun." "We will," Mira says, just as easily. "Hey, Zoe, didn't you say you want to stop by the Natural History Museum too?" Something in her words makes Zoe pull her fork away from her mouth. She gives Mira a look, half confused, half warning, and answers, yeah, but you said we wouldn't have time to do sex, and Rumi coughs and pounds at her chest. Mira kicks Zoe's foot under the table. Considering how small and circular the table is, it's unfortunately quite easy to do. Zoe shoots her an odd look, but Mira just raises her eyebrows at her and glances at Rumi, who's still coughing out the last of her waffle. "What?" Zoe mouths. Mira rolls her eyes. "Well, we can't go to the museum later because I have to be back for a phone meeting," Mira says, stressing her words. Zoe raises her eyebrows in confusion. "Yeah? You told me that last night." "But Mira says, making intense eye contact with her, "Rumi gets home around the time we get home, and then I have to leave. And she doesn't have anything to do for the rest of the day." "Okay," Zoe replies slowly. "Mimi, are you okay? Are you getting another cold? I brought Yuchacha in my bag just in case you. Hey!" Mira kicks her under the table again. Zoe glares at her, but Mira just raises her eyebrows. "Hey, Rumi," Mira calls out sweetly, and Rumi stiffens at the sound of her name. "Yeah?" Rumi answers with a wince. "Remember when you took me to the Natural History Museum when you had a stop in New York?" Mira asks, batting her eyelashes. "You said that it was an interesting walk and that it had a lot of fossils." "Fossils?" Zoe's instantly intrigued. "Like dinosaur fossils?" "A lot of fossils," Rumi tells her. "And a big section for marine life," Mira continues. "You're joking!" Zoe marvels. "And you want to skip going there?" Mira hits her shin under the table. Zoe hits her ankle back. "What's wrong with this woman?" Zoe's like, "I don't see anything. I don't see the signs." Zoe's like, "I'm blind. I don't understand what Mira's trying to do." All right. "There's a lot going on in the Natural History Museum," Mira reiterates, her knife delving into the rest of her waffle, but her eyes keep darting back and forth between Zoe and Rumi. Like, enough for a whole day. Plenty of things going on. "Mira," Rumi warns. "I'm just saying," Mira says with a shrug. "It would be a waste not to go while we're here in New York. Such a shame." When it finally hits Zoe what she's trying to do, she hits Mira under the table. Mira kicks her back. Zoe kicks her again. "It would be a shame," Zoe says, kicking her again. "If we missed it for sure," Mira kicks her. "But that's okay because," Zoe kicks her back, "we're here to support Rumi, not." Zoe kicks her again and unloads her clip, bothering her with random shit that she doesn't. Zoe kicks again, harder, and Rumi yelps. The three of them freeze. Ruby makes a face as she brings her knee up to her chest to rub at her ankle. The guilt floods Zoe so fast she almost cries. "Oh my god!" Zoe rushes out, her fork clattering against her plate. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to." Rumi kicks her chair. It sends Zoe skidding a couple of inches away from the table with a loud screech. She nearly topples over too, but she rights herself just in time. Sorry, Rumi blurts out, eyes wide. I was just trying to. I didn't mean to. You're so light. Zoe bursts into tiny giggles. The tension in the room dissipates. Mira's laughing too, and so is Rumi, and the whole thing is so ridiculous that Zoe almost falls out of her chair laughing anyway. It's Mira who gets up first to pick up their plates. When Rumi and Zoe open their mouths to protest, Mira offhandedly tells them, "It's fine. You made food, so I'm going to clean up, obviously." It leaves Zoe and Rumi alone at the table. Rumi scratches a spot on the table without looking up at her, and Zoe pretends to be interested in the episode playing on TV, even though she has the entire thing memorized by heart. Mira's busy washing the dishes nearby. The noises she's making are much louder than last night, or than they ever are back at her house in Burbank. And Zoe thanks her silently through their channel of friendship telepathy for trying to cover up the silence. Zoe counts down in her head to psych herself up to ask Rumi. It's not like she's asking her out on a date anyway. It's just a hangout at the museum. Friends and acquaintances and whatnots do that shit all the time. All she has to do is. What time? Ruby asks. Zoe's head snaps up. Wide eyed, she replies, What? Rumi's lips curl into a weak but genuine smile. Her fingernails stop scratching at the table. What time do you want to go? Zoe blinks the shock away. She swallows, then answers as non meekly as she can. Um, Mimi and I get back around 11, so maybe 1 to to give us time to chill for a minute? Rumi's silence makes her squirm. Should she take it back? Should she just explode on the spot and pretend nothing ever happened? Or, 1 is great, Rumi assures her. It'll give me time to call. Call? Zoe asks, slightly high. Rumi rises from the table and holds out her hand. She helps Zoe to her feet as she confirms to call my favorite restaurant near the museum and let them know that I want to stop by with a beautiful girl to eat after our trip. Ooh, are we getting restaurant Rex? Very, very fancy, fancy restaurant Rex. Zoe's stomach flutters like the butterfly toy that she used to have. I was like, I'm gonna jump out the window. The butterfly toy mention. Butterfly toy mention. I'm gonna jump out the window. You're so corny in the mornings, she teases, because it's the only thing she can do without dying on the inside. Ruby gives her a small, dashing smile. It falters a little when she notices the time on the clock behind Zoe's shoulder. She coughs into her fist and asks, So, 1 for food and museum? 1 for food and museum, Zoe confirms, trying her best not to laugh. Rumi's smile is one of relief, and Zoe has to hold herself back from trying to kiss her silly. Great, that's great, Rumi says, then coughs again into her fist. we could we could play Stardew Vaulty when we get home. Girl, you're not trying at this point. The name instantly makes Zoe dissolve into giggles, and Rumi's smile widens. I'll see you two later, Rumi says, her voice melted with warmth. Have fun, okay? Mira? Yeah? Mira calls back. Make sure she's safe and gets whatever she wants. I know, Mira says with a roll of her eyes, though the smile on her face is one of fond exasperation. God, you act like you're the one with the credit card. Guys! Zoe warns. You didn't hear anything. Mira says quickly. The fucking credit card debate is so funny. She laughs under her breath and she walks towards Mira. Confused and slightly guarded, Mira lifts an eyebrow as Rumi pops open the back of her phone case. Rumi lazily extends $100 bill to Sorry. Rumi giving rich ass Mira 100. The Chebo Princess Mira. Rumi lazily extends $100 bill to Mira. You should treat yourself to something, she drawls. You deserve it too. I don't know why this is so funny to me. It's just so funny. Mira slaps Rumi with a rolled up rag, wet and on the ass, Zoe notes, as Zoe laughs hard at the show happening in front of her. Slightly red in the face, Mira exclaims, I can't. You can, but you don't have to, Rumi says, gleefully teasing, though it's said with that baseline of sincerity. She tugs Mira by the waistband and tucks the bill into her pocket. Mira staggers and rights herself against Rumi's holy fuck, it's too early for this bicep. Zoe watching this, like, oh my god, I want to be in between them. Oh, when is it gonna be my turn? Zoe, just say the word. Oh my god. We see your self-insert. Anytime there's a bicep mention, I'm like, yeah, that's a self-insert. Okay. I mean it, Rumi adds. Both of you have fun. The gentle emphasis on both makes Zoe's stomach feel all warm. It squashes the little bug of jealousy for today. It would be more fun if you were with us, Mira says, slightly pink and breathless. She says it as mildly as asking for the time, but Zoe knows her well enough to spot the fuzzy edge of awkwardness in her words. Mira, as sweet as she is, doesn't always know how to say nice things without being afraid of what comes with it. Mira catches her eye and the way Zoe's actively trying to suppress a smile, and she narrows her eyes into a glare. A weak glare, but one nonetheless. I'll try to be there next time, Rumi promises. She touches Mira's arm, a fleeting touch, but one that softens Mira's shoulders and the tension in her jaw. Thank you for doing the dishes. Mira shrugs, and Zoe bites the inside of her cheek when she notices how Mira's eyes shift away. Wasn't a big deal. I know, Rumi says casually. Isn't a big deal for me to say thanks either. She got you there, Zoe points out, and Mira warns her with another weak glare. What? I don't have a horse in this race. I'm just saying. I wasn't saying anything either, Mira retorts. Rumi touches Mira's arm again. Be nice to her, she lightly chides. You're cuter when you smile instead of giving everyone the stink eye. Mira stiffens and Rumi and Zoe giggle. Rumi has been super flirty lately, and I'm all here for it. Then Rumi lifts her fingers to bid them goodbye, a coy smile on her face. She slips on her shoes and puts on her nice coat, and she heads out the door. Zoe feels a little sad watching her go. On days like this, she wishes she could go along with her. There's that selfish part of her that wants to ask Rumi to take her so that she can see Rumi's world, so that she can understand Rumi's world. But the brilliant sun is untouchable, and Zoe knows she isn't anything more than Pluto, never close or big enough. Girl, be serious. Anyways, that's a line break. Girl, be serious. Zoe, Zoe, Zoe. I'm gonna check the YouTube comments real quick here. Ooh, y'all have been active. A moment of silence for Mira's IBS. Can't possible. Call me, pick me if you wanna reach me, if you wanna ditch me. Well, yes. They're both blind. Mira is fed up. Shit, when will it be my turn? Real as hell. Real as hell. Oh, it's perfect wish fulfillment, isn't it? Isn't it? Yay, insecurities time. Oh, yeah, we're going back in time, right? Because Rumi POV. Oh, how lovely. Oh, I'm so excited. Guys, Is there an audio? Because I didn't see one. Is there an audio? I know that Nyx is doing a lot of recording and I'm like scared. Like they might be doing recording for other stuff, but I'm like, is there gonna be another Celine? Anyway, yeah. Um I was just talking about Zoe. I forgot Rumi was next. Oh. I mean, yeah. The thing about Zoe and Rumi is that they're quite similar. It's almost as if they parallel each other. um yeah, baby Rumi is always fun, question mark. Yeah. Oh, okay, one more sip and then I'll continue. Time for pain. Time for pain. I am just like, I did feel a little evil saying this during the last stream, but I think if you're driving, you shouldn't be looking at the back seats. Like, your child will be loud. That's a child. That's a child. Don't look at the back seat, like behind you while you're driving. That's your fault. Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rumi's dad, but like, that's your fault. Okay, Rumi POV. Rumi, Celine calls out softly. It only makes little Rumi press against the leather seat, down and down as they peel down the highway. Shut up! She doesn't have to look over to know that Auntie Celine has that look on her face. The one, are you serious? The one where she presses her lips together and looks down at her with that disappointed expression over what she did. Rumi doesn't even know what she did exactly to warrant this kind of response. Okay, little interjection, but I'm finally continuing to read Rose's fic, Just One Look. And here's the thing. Celine in this fic is evil. Celine in Just One Look makes me want to smash her face. Like, oh my god, I want to fucking kill her so bad. She is so bad. So like, I'm gonna see Celine and I'm gonna be angry, and then I'm gonna go back to Just One Look and I'm gonna be like, we need to kill her. That Celine is evil, evil. Like, hi Cal. Hi Cal. Yeah, we need to kill Celine. We commit war crimes against that Celine. No, like truly the worst version of Celine. Ooh. Okay, okay. Where were we? Sorry. Rumi doesn't even know what she did exactly to warrant this kind of response. It's always Rumi with Auntie Celine. Cal, I'm excited to see if you ended up commissioning some art for this chapter. Ooh. No matter what she does, she is the one at fault. There's something about how she tiptoes around Celine's apartment or how she speaks to Celine's friends that always has her being pulled aside or scolded in the car. It never feels good. She doesn't know how to fix it. I'm sorry, Rumi whispers. She doesn't know what she's sorry for, but she is. I won't do it again. I promise. She can see Celine glancing at her from the corner of her eye. The frown on Celine's face deepens, and Rumi wishes she could sink right into the seat and disappear. I'm not mad at you, Celine says, her tone, for once, gentle. It makes Rumi feel weird. What on earth would you be sorry for, Rumi? Rumi looks out the window and counts the trees that pass. Under her breath, she mumbles, I don't know. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I'm sorry, Celine says with a sigh. There's a lot, so much going on that my tone must have slipped. I'm not angry with you, Rumi. Rumi looks over at her aunt in confusion. Then, what is it? Celine doesn't respond for a while. She just clicks the turn signal and merges, sighs under her breath, then finally replies, eyes still on the road. I was going to tell you that I had a surprise for you today. I wasn't sure if you'd like it, but going out would be better than staying at home all day, don't you think? Rumi doesn't really agree. She would rather stay at home and stare at the wall until she gets too sleepy to keep her eyes open. It's how most of her nights go anyway. Celine takes her silence as an affirmative. She clears her throat, then tells her, Seoul Grand Park Zoo is just a couple kilometers away. I thought it would be fun to spend a day there. Rumi can see right through the weak attempt at acting joyful for her sake. Everyone in her life has been doing it for the last couple months. Her tutors do it too. She keeps telling them to stop, but they just say that it would be good for her, that a 9-year old needs to keep her chin up high for the bright future that lies ahead of her. What future? She always wants to ask. What can she do besides stare at a wall and do nothing all day and take up time and resources from the people around her? Rumi doesn't even go to school anymore. Her aunt had insisted that she stay in school to keep her life as normal as possible, but the condolences and hugs at school had gotten too much, too artificial and over the top, and she screamed at Celine in the car for an hour straight until Celine finally relented and let her be homeschooled. The apartment is her safe place. It's the only place where she eats, learns, stares at the wall, and sleeps. Anywhere else is a dangerous game. Being in this car is dangerous too, but Auntie Celine never believes her warnings. Celine sighs when Rumi doesn't respond. Rumi, she says again, and Rumi hates the way that her name sounds. You have to believe me when I say that this will be good for you. Staying at home all day isn't, it's not. She taps the steering wheel impatiently. It's not good for anyone to live like that. You need things to do, to look forward to. I do my schoolwork every day, Rumi says quietly. Isn't that something to do? Something other than schoolwork, Celine insists. Something, something that lights your fire. For kids your age, they like seeing animals. I know how much you liked seeing the tigers, even if you gave me a heart attack. She chuckles dryly. Other kids like to draw. Perhaps you'd consider letting me get you a painting tutor or one for writing. Your teacher told me that you have quite the talent in spoken word. Rumi crosses her arms, not in that bratty way that the kids in her old class used to do when they didn't get the special eraser heads the teacher passed out to the good kids, but to hug herself. She misses her papa's hugs. They were so big and warm. Celine has only ever hugged her once. Would you maybe like to attend more meetings with me? Celine asks, a little awkward, but upbeat. Those meetings aren't usually a place for a child, but you're a smart girl. The Kong's daughter is already starting to sit in with her father, and I've heard that she enjoys it. Always comes out smiling. I don't know, Rumi mumbles. Celine sighs again, and Rumi blinks back tears. She doesn't mean to be difficult. She just really doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know what she would be good at or what would make Celine the happiest. She just doesn't want to feel like this anymore. I know you're a talented singer, Celine says, her words light to try and brighten the mood. It hardly works. I've heard you sing to your father's plants back on Jeju. You have a very beautiful voice, Rumi. It reminds me of your mother. Rumi perks up at that. Really? Oh, yes, Celine replies, bobbing her head. She looks almost relieved to see the first sign of life from Rumi. You have your mother's voice. She used to make so many people happy on stage, you know? You've seen the videos of her dancing and singing with me, and her voice catches. You remember those videos, don't you? I do. Rumi says, sitting up in her car seat. She looked really happy. Because she was, Celine tells her firmly. I was too. It's exhilarating to be up on that stage. Making people happy was. I want to do that, Rumi says. Celine looks sharply over at her, so suddenly that Rumi almost gulps. It takes a moment for Celine to reply. When she does, all she says is, Rumi, that's not a decision you should be making at your age. Why not? Rumi asks. You told me to find my fire. This one makes me feel like fire. She remembers watching those videos of her mother on stage like it was yesterday. Her big smile is still imprinted behind Rumi's eyelids. It reminds her of all the smiles that her mama would throw at her while she was running around the garden with her papa. She can still visualize her mom's labored breathing, hear the audience's chants for her, and the way she would always just smile and wave at the camera after each performance ended. Rumi wants to be like that too. She wants to be just like her mama. She wants to make her proud just as much as she wants to chase after the high of being happy. Rumi, Celine says, and this time it sounds as if she's scolding her. I'm sorry, but you can't. Why? Rumi's voice comes out frighteningly small, and she scolds herself for it. If Mama could do it, why can't I? Celine's hands tighten on the steering wheel. The hum of the car is starting to make Rumi feel a little dizzy. Ask me again when you're older, Celine says with a sigh. You're too young. No, I'm not, Rumi snaps. It's the first time she's snapped at her auntie, and Celine glances at her in surprise. The boulder is already rolling down the hill, though, so she doesn't stop her mouth from rushing out. You, you already have trainees my age with sunlight. I'm the perfect age to start. You already know how talented I am, so why can't I? Rumi, Celine says sharply, and Rumi clams her mouth shut. This isn't a decision you can make out of nowhere. It's an incredibly big commitment, especially for a girl your age. You don't understand the kind of pressure it'll put you under. The stress, the. Well, it didn't come out of nowhere, Rumi insists, a little irritated. She plays with the seatbelt to calm her nerves. I've, I've been thinking about it for a while. I think it would make me really happy to try it. And you know that I do well in it, right? She doesn't really know if Celine would actually think so. Celine relents with a slow, yes, you're very talented, Rumi. Rumi tries not to sigh too loudly in relief. Then why can't I try? She pleads, and she twists her body to look at Celine. Mama started training when she was 10, right? If I start now, I can get a year head start. You'll still have to do your schoolwork, Rumi, Celine warns. I won't let you quit school just so you can pursue this. It'll be incredibly difficult juggling the two. Let me try, Rumi insists. Please? You won't know if I'll be good at it unless you let me try. And Papa and Mama wanted me to try one day, too, didn't they? She hears Celine inhale sharply. They told me that they moved to Seoul for me so I could get better opportunities. This is a better opportunity, isn't it? Mama always says that I was born for something greater. She means this, right? Her parents sacrificed so much for her. She saw how tired they looked whenever they came home from a long meeting or a day out. They sacrificed so much that they gave their lives to her. That's something that she needs to repay. Rumi, Celine says, almost begging. She shifts her eyes over to Rumi when they start to head down a straight, empty road. Your parents, they only wanted the very best for you. So do I. This is the best for me, Rumi tells her simply. I know that you know it too. Celine's lips part. Then she presses them together. She looks back towards the road, and the car plunges into the thick silence. Celine doesn't really like to play music in the car, not even podcasts or radio shows or white noise. It was a little difficult to adjust after she spent so long in her papa's loud truck, singing to their heart's content whenever they had to take a road trip. Rumi's starting to like the silence, though. It helps her think. You sound just like her, Celine murmurs. Rumi's chest tightens. Mama? She asks, and the word already sounds so foreign in her mouth. Hmm. Celine's finger taps against the steering wheel. Her passion for things can be just as intense. It's one of the things that Celine sighs, and her breath comes out uneven and shaky. Rumi pretends not to notice. They do a lot of pretending these past few months. It's easier to pretend that the two of them are living just fine, like a jar of kimchi that her mama made, like the jar of kimchi that her mama made last hadn't intentionally been left untouched in the fridge, or that the reason she screams and cries when her teddy bear falls off the bed isn't because of the crushing guilt. If it'll make you happy, then I'll let you try, Celine says, sliding her eyes over to her in warning when she sees Rumi opening her mouth. But I can't promise you that this isn't something that you'll end up regretting or crying over. Training is hard, Rumi. Rumi stays quiet. So Celine sighs, drums on the steering wheel again, and adds, But I won't put out your fire either. You're a smart girl. I trust you to tell me if you ever want to be pulled out of something like this. She shakes her head and laughs, almost in disbelief. It's rare to see a kid like you know what they want at such a young age. Your mother was a lucky woman to have a daughter like you. Rumi disagrees. She stays quiet anyway. It doesn't take them too long to arrive at the zoo afterwards. Rumi remembers the roads here and the way that the parking lot looks. She's been here a couple of times already. A few times with her parents and once with Celine almost a year ago. She loves looking at the tigers. She's not really sure if watching them today will make her feel any better, like Celine had hoped, but she knows that she'll just smile and pretend anyway. Celine picked a good day to go to the zoo with her, but she always does. Somehow, Auntie Celine knows exactly what time to leave the house so that the places they go to don't have too many eyes on them. It's a fascinating talent of hers, and Rumi hopes that she can teach it to her someday. She can teach it to her someday. The scattered families that they pass are quite lively, even with the nip of the uncharacteristically cold weather. Many of the children shout and bounce and tug at their parents' sleeves to look at the animals with them. Rumi wishes she could do that too. She still remembers how high it felt to be sitting on her papa's shoulders, or how warm her mama's hand felt in hers as they threaded through a crowd. She's tempted to reach out and hold Celine's hand too, but that's never been something allowed between them. Celine is not her mother. Celine is someone who was nice enough to take her in after no one else wanted her, and Rumi will spend the rest of her life trying to repay her and the family that she failed. It would be cruel of her not to. Past the six banded armadillos, they curve around a small family standing in the middle of the pathway. Celine eyes them disapprovingly, but neither of them say anything. It's only 13,000 won, the mother cries out. She's bent over a small child in face paint, meant to imitate a tiger. Rumi raises her eyebrows in surprise. We have to go home soon. Don't you want an eraser? Or a plushie? No, the little kid says defiantly. The father sighs in seeming defeat. Not even a pencil for your schoolwork? Didn't your friend break your pencil at your last sleepover? No, the kid says again. How about stickers? The mother tries again. You can share with your friend. No! A magnet? You can stick it on the fridge so we can all enjoy it. No! The parents sigh, and Rumi tries not to laugh. They slow down when the small crowd ahead starts to bunch together, and Rumi nearly bumps into Celine's back. She almost reaches for her hand out of instinct, after her mama always told her to stay close in big crowds, but she resists in time. Celine doesn't even turn around. Rumi looks over her shoulder to watch the family again. They're still arguing about spending the 13,000 won, which confuses her. Hadn't they spent more lately? 13,000 won sounds so low. Girl, that kid's smile, so big and genuine, is worth much more than 13,000. It's easily, I don't know that word. Desuple? What is that? The couple? I'm so confused. It's easily oh, I see. Decuple? 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 I've never. I understand. I understand that it means what it means because I get it. I'm just like I've never decuple. Decuple. Yeah, it means 10 times as much. It's easily decuple that, especially when paired with her giggles and the way her parents look so happily exhausted by her antics. Listen, I used to feel really bad about this. I used to feel bad about like not knowing words, but I was watching a streamer the other day and they didn't know what idiosyncrasy meant, and I was like, "Girl, come on." So I don't feel as bad anymore. It's easily decuple that, especially when paired with her giggles and the way her parents look so happily exhausted by her antics. There's a part of her that wants to turn around and offer the pocket change Celine gave her so that the kid in face paint can get a big plushie from the store they passed. She would have gotten it for herself, but her teddy bear back home is all that she needs. But she doesn't want to get too close. She's a black hole. Everything that crosses her event horizon, she will just destroy and consume until she's all alone. So she stays away from everything radiant, lest she snuffs out the light. Hedgehog's Dilemma. Hedgehog's Dilemma. I've been watching Neon Genesis Evangelion, can you tell? Hedgehog's Dilemma. Okay, let me take a little mini break. Oh! Cool. And then sometimes there's words I've never heard of before that other people all know. Exactly, yeah. Learning. Learning new vocabulary with Jaime. No, it really is. I like shared if you watch the Grammys, you would have seen Chapel Roan trying to read what's on the teleprompter and she's looking at like, and I'm like, that's me while reading GTC because I'm like, what are these words? Don't check your DMs until after, Artie. Thank you. Decuple. Sam, don't you mean in another world? But okay. Wah. It really is like I know Jaime has said, "Oh, Rumi is like Geo," and I'm like, "Yeah, God, 9 years old, bro. Geo was 8, but like, yeah." Love Evangelion. Evangelion is awesome. I'm rewatching it. I've watched it before. I've seen all the movies and stuff. I'm rewatching it with friends. And they bring up Hedgehog's Dilemma so much that we're like, okay, we get it, Hedgehog's Dilemma. And I'm like, Hedgehog's Dilemma. This language has so many weird and wonderful words. And it's also the stupidest language in the world. Like, I will keep saying that. Like, I'm like even as a non-native but fluent English speaker, I will say this: English is the stupidest language in the world. Like there are some like things in the English language that I'm like, how does that even make sense? It makes no sense. Why? It's so stupid. One of the things you what, Celine? Yes, Sky. I mean, we know that Celine, if Jaime is writing it, Selena is going to be gay for Miyoung. If for most fanfic authors, Selena is going to be gay for Miyoung. Like, the caviar with ketchup is disgusting, and I never want to think about it like that. Listen, I did check Instacart, and Instacart does deliver caviar. Like, there are like places with. Did you know that Wegmans has caviar? I didn't know that. But I was like, I'm not gonna get that shit delivered just for caviar. Like, I'm too broke for that. I cannot. I simply cannot. English is just 20 dead languages in a trench coat. That's really good. That's very true. I have no idea what Hedgehog's dilemma is. So the Hedgehog's dilemma is like, you know how a hedgehog has the spikes coat like in its like coating. So whenever it tries to get close to someone or like another person, or whenever someone gets tries to get close to someone because they're lonely, whatever, they're afraid that they'll end up hurting the other person. So they end up staying far away. It's the hedgehog's dilemma. It's like the want to get closer to other people, knowing that there's a possibility that you might end up hurting them. And it's all over Evangelion. Like, Evangelion is about loneliness and like building the attempt to build relationships. Like, that it is at the core of Evangelion. So they keep being like Hedgehog's dilemma. So yeah, it's a good concept though, I want to say. Okay. I'm gonna keep going. Okay. Zoe POV. Okay. It's times like this that Zoe is really glad that she splurged on that 5 terabyte hard drive a couple of months ago, because the amount of pictures that she took in the past few hours alone could fill half of that bad boy up. I don't believe that. I simply don't believe that, Zoe. Who could blame her though? Her entire morning had been full of pretty cityscapes and penis shaped memorabilia that she forced the straight faced Mira straight faced to pose next to. It's also practically like walking into a trap now when they opened the doors to the Natural History Museum and there were dinosaur bones right there to take pictures of and for her to beg Rumi to take pics with. It's a good thing that Zoe already told her chat that she was going to take a couple of days off from streaming for a family trip. The temptation to stream right now is starting to make her itchy. But turning around and seeing Rumi smiling back at her always makes her put down the camera. In the hall full of gems and minerals, I love that hall. Sorry, we saw Zircon. We saw Zircon in the gems and minerals hall, and we're like, Z mention, Z mention. And also, I was like, Dino, Dino, we need the song. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna say anything. That's Dinos to say. But if you know, you know. Um, they had Zircon there, and we were like, I love that hall, by the way. That was so fun. Like, if I was still in my like Steven Universe era, I would be like, oh my god, look at all these gems. I kind of still was doing that. It was a fun time. Mm-mm. In the hall full of gems and minerals, Zoe finally takes notice of the time on her phone. They've been here for almost 2 hours, and she still wants to loop back to the ocean stuff. It took so much willpower inside of her not to drag Rumi under the mouth of the giant ass whale and yap to her about whale facts, like how whales only have throats the size of a grapefruit. Sorry, we've been here for so long, Zoe says apologetically. Girl, it's the Natural History Museum. You're going to be there for a long time. It's so pretty. It's really, really pretty. She's pretty sure that they still have at least half the museum to go. You were able to go through half the museum in 2 hours? I don't believe you. Maybe I just go through museums too slow, but like we were there. We were there for like 5 hours, and I'm pretty sure we only went through half. She's pretty sure that they still have at least half of the museum to go. I don't know what time you made the reservation for at the restaurant. We can get going if we're running late. Oh, it already passed, Rumi replies, so casually that Zoe almost strangles her on the spot. She looks down at the brightly lit gems on the shelf next to them. And I told them this morning that if we missed it, to just push us back another hour. And if we miss it again, push us back another hour? Zoe jokes. Of course, Rumi replies, and Zoe startles. Sometimes she forgets how rich and powerful her friends can be. People can be rich, but it takes a powerful woman like Rumi and Kang Mira to casually tell a 3 Michelin-starred restaurant to wait for them. She almost had a heart attack when Mira had someone deliver hot and fresh wagyu steak to her door the other day. Zoe lets her eyes roam over Rumi's sharp face. It's not too crowded at the museum today, but there's still enough people that Rumi had to fix a hat on her head and cover herself up in a thick leather jacket. She's about 95% certain that the jacket is Mira's, but she doesn't have any right to tease Rumi for stealing it. She's just as guilty of raiding Mira's closet. They're just casually sharing clothes, y'all. They're just casual like that. They're just chill like that. Everyone else knows that they're dating except them. Exactly. Besides, she looks really pretty in it. Rumi has always looked so beautiful in everything she wears. In all her years of cheering her on, Zoe has never found an exception to that rule. Not her comfy encore fits, and not even when she drools in her sleep on her couch back in Burbank. The light by the gems isn't helping her case either. Zoe's always been jealous of how casually beautiful Rumi can look when she's thinking. A friendly robotic female voice in the background informs the guest about where the minerals had come from. Zoe's hardly listening. From the look on Rumi's face when she glances up at her, almost expectantly, Zoe thinks that she hadn't been either. What? Zoe asks, laughing a little under her breath. Why are you looking at me like that? Rumi's lips form into a small smile at the sound of her laugh. She glances back at the shelf, then answers, Well, aren't you going to tell me about these? Zoe tilts her head. The gems? She looks back at them, then raises an eyebrow at Rumi. Why do you think I know anything about these? Rumi exhales in amusement. I mean, you gave me a really nice lecture in the insectarium. The insectarium is so cool. By the way, we spent so much time there. It's so awesome. She reminds her. And most of the mammals we passed, I had no idea that an ostrich kick was that strong. Okay, but that's different, Zoe says flippantly. She scratches at her cheek and bends down at the hip to take a closer look at one of the gems. I don't really know much about these, she admits. Rumi raises her eyebrows. Really? Well, don't act so surprised, Zoe jests. I can't know everything. I know that, Rumi says with a light roll of the eyes. You told me that you really wanted to be a geologist when you were a kid, and that you begged your dad to get you a rock tumbler for your 10th birthday. Well, little Zoe also thought that she was going to be mayor, and look where that ended up, she says with a snort. I mean, I can give you a debrief on igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rocks. I don't know if I can help you beyond that, but these are really pretty. The thing about rocks with me is that I low-key kind of have PTSD from my archaeology of climate change class that I took in college. That is the hardest class I've ever taken. I'm a drama major, by the way. I was a drama major, and I like took that class for my science requirement, and I did get through it. But like everything after that was so easy for me. That archaeology of climate change class destroyed me. I'm like we were made to read like scientific articles for every week, and I'm like, this is not even my major. What are we doing? Going to be in Ghana to study insects because of the work she did at the museum. Woo! My friend had an internship for the Natural History Museum studying insects, and now she is going to be in a. That's so cool. That's so cool. That's awesome, man. Oh, okay. She points at the giant cluster of amethysts. The bright purple reminds her of Rumi's pretty hair. You think so? Rumi asks with a hum. I would have pointed to the aquamarine next to it. Wow, I wonder why Rumi is looking at the aquamarine and Zoe's looking at the amethyst. Whoa, I really wonder why. I'm so curious. She had free housing too in NYC. Oh, the dream. The dream. Oh my god. What is it going to be me? Such subtle symbolism. I wonder why Rumi's looking at the aquamarine. Okay. Kind of hard to notice that itty bitty aquamarine when there's that big hunk of malachite in between it, Zoe says with a giggle. I would have thought malachite was like sharp or something. It kind of looks like the marshmallow man if he was green. Rumi chuckles in agreement. Most gems have different forms, so this one's probably just an outlier. She muses out loud. Zoe slowly starts to walk to the other side of the shelf. Rumi follows her, close at her heels, and she tries not to coo out loud. It's been their protocol for the last 2 hours. Zoe leads the way, and Rumi lets her go wherever she'd like without complaining. They passed a couple of boyfriends who'd say things to the effect of, Are you done yet? And Rumi would almost always wrinkle her nose at them. It always makes her smile. Oh, 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 you're right, she says, stopping where she is. Rumi almost walks into her back, and Zoe gracefully ignores it by pointing at the signage below a gem. Azurite and Malachite sound like a really cool band, and it looks really pretty. The teal swirls inside of the pearl are mesmerizing to look at. I wonder what that means. Rumi's hands are buried in her pockets, making her elbows jut out, and Zoe has to resist the urge to latch on. She has to scold herself for even thinking about it. Holding on to her would make their excursion out in the museum seem more like a date, and she doesn't want to make Rumi feel uncomfortable. Like, sure, Rumi bought their tickets, held her hand whenever they had to pass through a thicker crowd, and would stare at her with a big, dopey smile on her face while Zoe rambled on at the lion display. But Zoe wants to make sure she minimizes any risk of making this weird. They're just two roommates who cuddled last night out on a museum hangout and are about to eat at a fancy restaurant later. Zoe! Rage bait, I swear. She is so funny. She is like, girl, we don't, it's a damn date. That looks radioactive, Zoe remarks, pointing at the pyromorphite. Wonder why they named a green gem pyromorphite. I would have given it to that wolfenite over there. They didn't name it pyromorphite from the color, Rumi says with a laugh. It's because how it behaves after you melt it. It takes a crystalline shape after, I think. Zoe stares up at her in surprise. Rumi tilts her head, lost like a dog. What? How do you know that? She accuses lightly. Since when do you know so much about gems, and why didn't you tell me sooner? Because I don't, Rumi replies, jutting out her bottom lip to think. She looks back at the gems and scans them as she says, My aunt Poppy used to show me a bunch of gem formation books when I used to live on Jeju. Zoe tilts her head. Poppy, the stage name of the sunlight system, instead of Kimmy. Ha! Now that she thinks about it, Rumi's never really talked about her. Continues. And I kind of really like watching Jeopardy on the plane. Of course, she likes watching Jeopardy. That's so on brand. She says the last part a little quietly, and it still makes Zoe laugh. Hmm. Huh. Zoe looks back at what she's looking at, then points at the sharp brown gem next to the radioactive looking one. Titanite, according to the text beneath it. Do you know anything about that one? Rumi hums in thought. Not much, but I know you wouldn't really use it for jewelry, she explains, leaning close to it. It's too soft for jewelry. Celine has a titanite necklace in her collection, though. A friend gave it to her for her birthday. And that one? Zoe asks, pointing at a sharp black one. Stibnite is cool, Rumi says, almost to herself. Pretty sure it was used as coal. As coal? As coal a long time ago. As coal. What is it? What is that? Ooh, it's a terracotta two-sided drum used in northern and eastern India for accompaniment with devotional music. Learn something new every day, baby. Or is it what is it what he's talking about? Pretty sure it was used as coal a long time ago. Hunan province has the biggest deposit for it, and Japan, I think. Are they talking about different things? Because this is an instrument. Is it a different thing? Oh, it's also a black powder, usually antimony sulfide or lead sulfide, traditionally used as eye makeup in North Africa and the Middle East. Interesting. Okay, multiple meanings for the same word. Cool. Or is it what we're talking about? It's just spelled different. It's spelled different because there's coal, KH. There is KHOL coal, which is the drum, and there is KOHL coal, that is the black powder, which makes sense. Anyway, um, Hunan province has the biggest deposit for it, and Japan, I think. Actually, I think this museum has the biggest display for stibnite in the world. If we go past a few of the shelves, we might be able to see it. It's over 1,000 pounds, and what? What? Zoe asks. Why are you smiling at me like that? Rumi asks with a chuckle. When am I not smiling at you? Zoe retorts. You know what I mean. Nuh-uh. Yaha. Nuh-uh. Yaha. Yaha. No, wait. It's spelled. Wait. No. Rumi stops herself and blinks. Zoe snorts under her breath. Zoe. Not my fault you walked into that one, Zoe argues. And am I not allowed to smile at you? Wait. Sorry. Wait, you know what I mean. Nuh-uh, nuh-uh, no. Ruby stops. Okay. She tricked. Okay, sorry. My brain went like, whoop. Am I not allowed to smile at you? Of course you can. Rumi strains out, pivoting on her heel to stare at the gems so intensely that Zoe has to hold back another laugh. I just want to know what you're smiling at. You, Zoe says simply. You always make me smile. You've made me smile for like a decade now, actually, she wants to add, but that would be a little too weird to bring up, so she doesn't. Gotcha, Jay. Okay. You make me smile too, Rumi mumbles under her breath. Zoe elbows her in the rib with a snicker, and Rumi pointedly doesn't look in her direction. Wait, Zoe elbows her in the rib. Ugh. She has a lot of catching up to do when it comes to making Rumi smile. A decade of it, easily. She hopes that Rumi will stick around to let her. I wish you told me more about stuff like that, Zoe says as evenly as she can. She doesn't want to come off like Rumi owes it to her. She just wants her to know that she's always open to Rumi's info dumps as much as Rumi is to hers. Rumi looks surprised to hear her say that, though. I try to tell you whatever you want to know, she says softly, and Zoe wants to tell her that it's not what she means. Alas, Rumi continues with, I just figured you would have already known what you wanted to. Zoe raises her eyebrows. What do you mean? Like stuff about me in general, Rumi says carefully. Like stuff about me in general, Rumi says carefully. She's eyeing her so warily that Zoe almost feels bad for holding eye contact with her. You've been You've been a fan of mine for a while, haven't you? Rumi doesn't say it with any malice or anything of the sort. Still, it makes Zoe feel guilty to answer with a squeaky, yeah. Then, sorry, she blurts. Rumi raises her eyebrows in surprise. Laughing a little in disbelief, she asks, for what? I don't know, Zoe says, a little frantic. Just, I was scared that it was starting to weird you out, I guess. I mean, if it helps, I put the albums I have of you away. I would have taken down the posters, but I put them up there with glue, I think. And my dad would have killed me if he found out. It's okay, Rumi says quickly. Seriously, I think it's. She blinks rapidly to find the right word. Zoe doesn't really know what to expect. She certainly doesn't expect Rumi to say, albeit squeakily, cool? Cool? Zoe asks, voice slightly high. You think it was cool that I was am of your fan? Sure, she doesn't look up to she doesn't look up Rurumi fan cams anymore, even though she's really tempted some days. But she still very much considers herself part of the Rumi nation. She would ride or die for Rumi's honor just as much as she would have at 16. Honestly, even more now. Yeah, Rumi says, and the loftiness in her voice gives away the fact that she's desperately trying to sound as nonchalant as possible. For such a well known actress, Rumi really sucks at things like this. She clears her throat. It's, it's nice, sweet, I guess, that you didn't. Rumi exhales slowly and steadily. Zoe tries to mimic her. The robotic voice and the sound of chatter around them are, oddly enough, helping with the nerves. That you saw me for who I am after all those years of being a fan and didn't, you know, Rumi half shrugs. She probably meant for it to look casual, but it makes her look more helpless. Run, I guess. I know I would have. Zoe frowns. Why would you think I'd do that? She remembers Rumi the other day saying, never meet your heroes. Depends. She thinks about how often she gets nightmares of her streaming friends unfriending her and blocking her online when they realize how annoying she really is after she spams 10th turtle fact of the week. It's so easy to smile for a camera or a fan because she can curate herself to look friendly and inviting. Perfect in a way. Having friends is harder. She doesn't really have a template for being vulnerable around her friends, and it makes it hard sometimes to talk to Mira and Rumi after her streams without feeling like she owes them something afterwards. Sure, there's Genu too, but Genu is Genu. He's probably one of the very few beings on Earth who will ever know the story of her dropping her metal water bottle in class and having it loudly clang in the middle of a quiet lecture hall, and him knowing that means they're bounded by blood. Would you be mad at me if I said that I was scared you thought I was disappointing? Rumi jokes, but the strain in her words makes Zoe frown even deeper. And I guess I thought that you being a fan meant that you knew enough about me. I don't think I'd ever get tired of learning about you, Rumi, Zoe says sincerely. I mean, yeah, it's kind of whoa that I know about your favorite drink combo and your favorite and what your favorite movies are, but that doesn't mean I'm going to run out of things to learn about you. People grow and change and blah blah. We aren't stuck like gems behind glass forever. Zoe reaches out to hook their pinkies together. You do and think new things every day, and I want to know more about them, she says, matter of factly. Whoever gets to know Rurumi every day of their lives would be a lucky person. She doesn't plan on ever taking that for granted. Rumi smiles at her weakly, but at the very least, it looks sincere. If you tell me about you, then I'll tell you about me, Rumi says. How does that sound? It makes her giggle. Sounds great like a grapefruit. Whatever the hell that means. Zoe tugs her towards the rest of the shelves, Pinky still linked. Rumi, as she always does, obediently follows. She asks Rumi to tell her about the gems. There's quite a few that Rumi knows about. but Zoe likes listening to it. Selfishly, she likes knowing she's allowed into this side of Rumi, a side most people don't get to see. Rumi, the geologist, probably wasn't on anyone's bingo card, but now that it's on Zoe's radar, she can't help but notice how hot Rumi looks when she talks about tourmaline groups and how coming to I thought that was serious word. And how coming tonight comes for coming to Massachusetts. And Zoe, stop giggling and stop. I mean, there are gems like that. It's very funny. Coming tonight comes from Cummington, Massachusetts. And Zoe, stop giggling. It's I mean, yeah. Oh, it's so funny. I have the maturity level of a 5-year. Walking through a museum with Rumi is probably the most fun she's had since this morning with Mira, she supposes. It's fun because it's with Rumi, because she's with someone who makes it so easy to be herself around. Oh, it would shock you what real. There's so many real gemstones with crazy names. That one's a funny one though. Like that's smart. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna coming tonight. Yeah. It looks kind of ugly. I mean, most stones do. It has crystal forms, and that looks kind of cool, I guess. I mean, Cummington is a real place. I mean, freaking what is it? What's the name of the street? There's a street in New York, like around here, actually called Dykeman Street. So like, we have names, yeah. We love making like talking about Dykeman Street. I literally can't name half of them here without getting banned. Yeah, the street is called Dykeman Street. Yep. Anyway, um, someone who smiles and hums along to her lectures about anything and everything. Like Rumi's game of 30 something questions a while back, here we are again. They fall into an easy little rhythm of their own as they walk around the rest of the museum. One of them would give a mini lecture on the things that they find, and the reward would be something new about themselves. The reward is more addictive than cookies or anything monetary. Before they leave the meteorites, Rumi ends her lecture with, I feel like meeting you was how these meteorites felt when they crashed on Earth. Rumi the romantic. I mean, there is a gay street. There is a gay street in New York, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there is a gay street here as well. That's such a good line. I am in fact going to read that again. I feel like meeting you was how these meteorites felt when they crashed on Earth. Use that as a pickup line, everyone. Like, oh my god. I'm gonna turn on the light, by the way. It's getting a little dark. Okay. Rumi winces when she realizes how it actually sounds, but Zoe only laughs. A for effort, Zoe thinks. She rewards her by telling her about the time that she snuck wild birds into the house when her dad was at work, and delicately slipping her hands into hers. Rumi stiffens, but doesn't pull away. Wally went. I may probably use that. I would not be surprised. When they find the human origins area, one of my favorite areas, Zoe tells her, look, we evolved from dozens and dozens and dozens of ancestors, so just so we can have the perfect hands to hold together. They're so cute! Rumi laughs and tells her about the time she crashed into a giant curtain during rehearsals. At the Hall of Planet Earth, when they finish reading off the billions of light years and galaxies in between, Rumi tells her There's 7 billion people, and you're the perfect girl to walk with me through a museum. A squeeze to their joined hands. What are the odds of that? Okay, so we're in a pickup line contest. I see. I see. It's hard to find something to share about herself in response. She just rewards Rumi with 3 squeezes of her own. 8 billion now. 8 billion now, she chide softly. Rumi only smiles at her. Such a pretty, pretty smile. So rare and beautiful to see. It feels nice to talk Rumi's ear off, just as much as it feels nice to listen to Rumi. She gets to be both a mouth and an ear with Rumi, and it always makes her happy to see Rumi light up with the same kind of fire as she talks about the random facts that pop into her mind. By the time they finish ogling at the birds of the world, they've looped around most of the museum. Somewhere through their journey, they've gone from hand holding to Zoe clinging to most of her arm. Rumi doesn't shrug her away, and Zoe, frankly, doesn't want to pull away either. In the mellow atmosphere between the two of them, Zoe allows herself the simple pleasure of feeling close to a star. Did you know that the shark that they used in the Jaws poster is a shortfin mako shark and not a great white? Zoe asks, humming under her breath. I think they still have one of the sharks in I s- I think they still have one of the sharks in formaldehyde here. Really? Rumi says. She sounds genuinely intrigued. Nothing like the dismissive tone people use when they want Zoe to go away. Do you want to go see it? Zoe chuckles. How are you going to do that? Walk into the itch oh god. Ich, itch theology or ichthyology? I feel like ichthyology makes more walk into the ichthyology section and ask the workers to let us see the sharks. I'm going to look up the pronunciation of that just in case. Ichthyology? It is ick. Sometimes I'm smart. Walk into the ichthyology section and ask the workers to let us see the sharks. Rumi tilts her head. Yeah. God. Anyways, she honestly doesn't know what she expected. And because she's in such a good mood from walking around and taking in all the sights, Zoe tells her, when we come back here with Mira someday, then you can ask. I think I got my fill of movie stars after taking all those pics with Dexter the monkey. If you're sure, sweet pea, Rumi says, a small smile on her face. Zoe elbows her gently between the ribs. I'm sure, baby bear, she teases. She feels Rumi's arms stiffen, and she has to smother her laugh behind her hand. Her favorite fact to learn about Rumi is that she can't take cheesy pet names without having to reboot 1,000 times. Rumi looks up and squints at the signs around them. I think we hit most of the exhibits, she remarks, eyes flicking over each one. They walk to a corner to let other people pass, and Rumi looks over at her. I think the only one we have left is the. Zoe gasps. She shakes Rumi's arm before she remembers that she shouldn't be giving people whiplash in a museum, and she slows down. The ocean life stuff, she exclaims, too excited to really keep her voice down. Rumi doesn't reprimand her for it. She only laughs and says, well, I wouldn't want to keep you waiting. It's how Zoe ends up taking her by the hand and pulling her along to weave through the halls and the thin crowds. They passed it once already, so it's easy to retrace their steps. They turn the corner, and the giant blue whale in the center of the room takes her breath away. Massive and grand in scale, staring down at them with beady eyes that make Zoe wish she could just sit under it and stare up forever. It's a reminder of how small she is in the grand scheme of things. But for once, the reminder doesn't sting, especially when Rumi just holds her closer, like she's almost afraid that the whale would open its giant maw and swallow her whole. Zoe picks a random direction, and they start to make their rounds around the glass displays. Obedient as ever, Rumi doesn't ask her to pick up the pace. She only nudges Zoe's side and she murmurs, This is your domain. Tell me everything you know. If I told you everything that I know about these, we'd be here all night, Zoe jokes. Well, it's not really a joke. She could fill an easy 8 hours with a lecture about just the fish that they see next to them right now. Rumi shrugs, unconcerned. Then it would be a night I'll cherish for the rest of my life, she answers simply. Zoe gulps down how hard her heart flips in her chest. It's funny how being with Rumi always feels like a first date, whether they're in a cramped Airbnb, her kitchen in Burbank, or here, arguably the most ideal first date spot in New York ever. Rumi always makes those nervous butterflies stir in her stomach. Rumi makes her want to smooth her hair and giggle under her breath whenever Rumi says something even mildly funny. That's part of the charm of being with Rumi, she guesses. It's so easy to be nervous next to her, not because of her status or because of how long she's been tacked on Zoe's bedroom walls, but because Rumi makes her feel like she can nurture an entire lepidopterarium of butterflies in her stomach. Butterflies love the taste of honey, and every word and curve of Rumi's mouth is a careful offering of it. Zoe repays her the best way she knows how, by telling her 1,000 little things around them, like that pufferfish have beaks, what creature the Permian seas held 1 million years ago, and that Rumi has a really pretty laugh. Rumi startles and she whips her head over to look at her. Sorry, what? She stammers. Laughing under her breath, Zoe confirms, You have a really pretty laugh. A really, really pretty laugh. She could spend all day listening to it. She has before. She's listened to those fan compilations of Rumi laughing and being a dork on different variety shows, and she almost lulled herself to sleep listening to Rumi's gentle laughter whenever they called and played games. Rumi clears her throat and looks back at the displays. Zoe smirks, and she tries her best not to poke too much fun at Rumi for being a bit of a dork. There is a downstairs part, Rumi says, stumbling a little over her words. Would you? There's a display with a whale and a squid that scared Mira the first time we saw it. Do you want me to take you to it? Mira got scared? Zoe raises her eyebrows, slightly impressed. To be fair, Mira gets scared at almost everything. She always jumps feet in the air whenever Zoe scares her from a corner, and she always denies her yelps whenever a jump scare happens in a horror movie. Zoe lets her have the last word. Rumi confirms the story with a happy nod. Screamed so loud when she put her glasses on that she wouldn't talk to me in the car, she says, a little too giddily to be a lie. Zoe giggles to herself, and she insists. Laughing, Rumi gives her a nod, and she slips her hand down to find Zoe's. Rumi's hands have always been so warm, in contrast to Mira's, whose cold hands always made her feel alive and jittery. Rumi's warmth makes her want to melt like butter into the floor. Down the steps they go, and Rumi never stops holding her hand. Not even when a big guy nearly clips Rumi's shoulder, and not when a bunch of screaming children run past them with an exhausted mother waddling after. Such a stark contrast to when Rumi had batted her hand away in that comic shop a while back, or whenever she would take a step back from her to let her and Mira walk together at the grocery store. She likes this slightly emboldened side of Rumi. She knows that Rumi isn't one to hold her chin up high like Mira. The way she tilts her head to let the bill of her cap hide most of her face from everyone else confirms it, but each squeeze of her hand feels something akin to a promise. It must be Rumi's way of trying to rectify sins she doesn't have. Zoe wishes she could tell her there is nothing to expiate, that the only sin she could ever commit is putting on armor she doesn't need. Leave the tin to those who crave the clash of metal, and sharp swords to those who want to hurt. Rumi has never been like that. Not the Rumi on her bedroom walls, and not the Rumi with a hand gently on the small of her back, guiding her safely down the steps. It's ironic in that sense. Rumi is a charming knight without armor. She's quite pretty without anything hiding that soft. It's not that scary. Sorry, there's music playing outside. That's not that scary, Zoe comments, leaning in to squint at the exhibit. It's definitely much more dimly lit than the rest of the stuff they've seen. And like the other exhibits at the museum, the whale and squid look eerily real. She almost wants to reach out to touch them, but the last thing she wants is to cause any trouble next to Rumi. She is a good girl, probably. Probably. Besides, there's probably a piece of glass to stop her from impulsively touching the thing. If there wasn't one, then all the kids here would have. Rumi chuckles. There's no glass, she says. Blinking, Zoe turns to look up at her. Sorry, what? There's no glass, Rumi confirms. That's why it scared Mira so much. When she didn't have her glasses on, I told her I could nudge her inside if she wanted to take a closer look. She pouted about it for a day and a half. She rolls her eyes, but the gentle curve of her lips betrays her affection. Zoe looks back at the display. Suddenly, the giant squid eye looking at her seems twice as menacing. She shivers and takes a step back from the display. Rumi's hand stays firmly on her back and she rubs circles over it. You won't push me in, right? Zoe jests, but the crack in her voice makes Rumi frown. Never, Rumi says, the word like a vow. The hand on Zoe's back feels twice as warm now. Where you go, I go. I'd never willingly put you in danger. Zoe's pulse jumps, and she tries to keep it in check. She giggles and presses her cheek against Rumi's shoulder, then remarks, I mean, I wouldn't be in danger if I fell in there. It's not like I'd pull a night at the museum and eat me up. I wouldn't risk it, Rumi says. So close to a declaration that Zoe almost wishes she could shut her up with a hand over her mouth or I would never risk you, Zoe. Zoe pokes her side with a breathless laugh. It's the only way to cover up how her pulse jumps in her throat again. Dork, she declares. Yours, Rumi counters, so easily that Zoe wishes she could press her face into Rumi's jacket, one that smells faintly of pink peppers, and scream. Instead, she does the normal thing of clearing her throat and asking, albeit crackly, so, all those other displays, all those other displays, huh? Rumi laughs, but she lets Zoe take her to do one more loop around the last room of the museum. They are all gorgeous displays, as all the other ones they've passed have been. But if Zoe is being honest, these ocean displays are probably her favorite part of this museum. It's wholly from her bias as someone who loves sea creatures and the unknown that comes with them. Polar bears, octopi, coral reefs, manatees. Zoe can't help but marvel at them all. Whenever we saw a coral reef at the museum, we would take a photo of it and send it to Reef. Reef, aka Reef Writing, aka Bestie. Um, Dino and I would be like, oh my god, hey, coral reef. They slow down when Zoe notices the giant tail above them. She cranes her neck all the way up, and she pulls out her phone to take a video of the giant whale. The size from down here makes it look more impressive than when they were upstairs. A few children are lying down on the floor to stare up at it, and if she wasn't so hungry and eager to get to Rumi's reservation, she would have joined them. Zoe marvels at the ventral pleats of the whale, then proudly remarks, Did you know that their penises are about 8 to 10 feet long? I learned that in the Museum of Sex this morning. Oh, that's not very big. Ruby says nonchalantly. 8 to 10 feet. This started about 2 hours ago. Oh, that's not too big. 8 to 10 feet. That's like not twice my size, but like one and a. I'm 5'7", so like. Oh, that's not very big. Rumi says nonchalantly. Zoe looks over to find Rumi already watching her, a habit she's noticed for the past 3 hours. if not for their entire time in Burbank or every walk through the hospital courtyard. I am wondering if she's getting confused because of metric system stuff, which I will always be on the side of metric system people. Sucks, Queen Ruby. Okay. You don't think that's big? Zoe asks, skeptical. Rumi blinks, and she seems to shake off the stupor that she was in. I mean, for a whale, that doesn't seem very big. I'm thinking of that, like that whale in the museum. I mean, it's just a penis. I don't know. Maybe it isn't that big. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, right now I'm trying to imagine the whale right now. It is pretty big. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, for a whale, that doesn't seem very big. As if that helps. How how big did you think they're supposed to be? Zoe asks, genuinely curious. Love that Jaime got us all thinking so hard about whale penis. uh, uh, I don't know, Rumi exclaims, darting her eyes away from Zoe's stare. It's not like I think about that. Who would think about that? Then why did you say that you thought that wasn't big? Zoe says, still in disbelief. Dude, that's like 1.5 of me, or 2 of me, and at least 30 apples. Rumi blinks again at that. 2 of you? She echoes. When it hits, her eyes widen and she squeaks out, "Oh, feet, not okay." Yeah, I knew she was confused about the metric system stuff. Yeah. Oh, feet. Yeah, that's pretty big. Is it the biggest out of I mean, I'd assume so since it's the biggest animal on the planet. So wait. So it takes a step back to look at her. Yeah, I also thought that she maybe heard it as inches. Yeah. Wait. Zoe takes a step back to look at her, but she doesn't let go of her hand. What did you think I said? That a whale peen was 8 to 10 inches? Stop, Rumi hisses, but it comes out more like a high-pitched whine. You you don't think Zoe can hardly get her words out from how hard she's trying to keep her laughter to an acceptable level of giggles. Zoe quit. You don't think that 8 inches is Oh my god, my face is red. I am red. That is so funny. Oh my god. You don't think that 8 inches? I didn't mean it. Like, how big do you usually, Zoe? Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm so fine. I'm literally. Oh my god. That is so funny. That is so brilliant. Okay. Okay. I am calm. I am fine. She loses it when she notices how mortified Rumi looks. She doubles over, laughing her guts out, but she keeps her fingers clawed into Rumi's sleeve to keep herself standing. Zoe, Rumi whines, quieter, but just as whiny. Oh my god! She wheezes. You know, of all the things I found out about you today, I didn't think. Zoe, Rumi whines. I spaced out. I wasn't thinking. That's so much worse. Zoe says with a laugh, straightening just enough to give her a teasing grin. You really stood there like, yeah, that sounds reasonable for a Jagia. Jagia, Rumi whines again. She practically stomps her foot. The pet name makes Zoe clamp her mouth shut. She swallows down the last of her laughter. Sorry, Rumi immediately blurts out. Slipped out. Zoe snorts. Like a stop! Rumi groans. I didn't mean that either. I'm sorry if that made you. I liked it. Zoe said I liked it. She clears her throat and she tightens her hold on Rumi's hand. She's grateful that everyone else around them is too busy staring at the dioramas rather than at their awkward mess. I like it when you call me things like that, Stardrop, she adds, as sincerely as she can. The nickname makes Rumi smile. Beam, really. All that Rumi needs to complete the look is a wagging tail. We get it. Rumi's smiles have always been so unbearably infectious, and Zoe fights down a grin. Her cheeks are aching too much to smile like that right now. There's a few more things left, Rumi says softly, nodding her head to the last of the displays. Zoe giggles and she nods. With one more squeeze of their hands, she says, Yeah, let's finish this thing so we can eat your fancy caviar. We don't have to eat caviar, Rumi promises. She lets herself be swept away in Zoe's excitement, though. They have other things on the menu. Would you be on it? Whoa! Whoa! Okay! Okay! Zoe's like, Would you be on it? Zoe asks, batting her eyelashes and looking over her shoulder. Okay. Rumi blinks fast in surprise. Giggling, Zoe leads them to a display with sad-looking harbor seals. She tells Rumi that seals share common ancestors with dogs and bears, which means you could be related to them. I love that they're just openly joking about Rumi being a dog now. A long diorama full of dolphins sparks her excitement about the fact that orcas are actually dolphins. The otter display makes her smile. The last display makes both her and Rumi pause. Zoe, because she can't look away from the turtle, and Rumi, because she can't seem to look away from the two sharks behind the turtle. Yeah, that was the display that we took a photo of, and we were like, oh my god, I saw this, and I was taking a picture of the turtle, and Dino was like, I wonder why you're taking a picture of that. And I'm like, shut up. and then I put it on Twitter, and Zoe, the roleplay account, was like, oh my god, Turla. Okay. Without having to look at the plaque text underneath it, Zoe explains, oh, those are tiger sharks. You can tell from the stripes on the side of the guy on top. And I'm pretty sure that's a loggerhead. It has a big ass head like the other turtle we saw. So Rumi hums in reply. Zoe takes that as her cue to continue explaining. She points with the hand that isn't intertwined with Rumi's and adds, loggerheads can't retract their heads or limbs like other turtles, but they have a pretty tough shell. Tiger sharks, on the other fin, that's cute. On the other fin, have really powerful teeth and jaws that can cut through shells like that guy. Rumi doesn't say anything to that. She does, however, run her thumb over the back of Zoe's smooth hand. I wonder if it would get away, Zoe muses out loud. Loggerheads aren't very fast, so it's probably a given that if this happened to IRL, the sharks would get to it first. Not sure which shark, though. And the sharks would eat it? Rumi guesses. Her voice is a little quiet. You'd think so, huh? She says, turning to look at Rumi with a proud smile. But it's not 100% thing. I saw a video a couple of days ago where a tiger shark tried to eat a loggerhead but couldn't get through the shell. She laughs to herself at the memory. It tried to bite the dude's tail after, I think. It was funny. I can try finding it again and send it to you. Rumi's eyes linger on the sharks. Something about the way she presses her lips together or how the blue hue rests on her face makes Zoe think that she's sad. She flicks her eyes back to Zoe, then asks softly, "What would you want to have happened?" Zoe looks back at the display. "What, to the turtle?" "Yeah," Rumi says, an odd wobble to her words. "You know how people say things like that are just natural? Would you have wanted the turtle to get away?" Zoe pauses to think about that. Rumi chuckles, a little dry, then says, quick and almost ashamed, "Sorry, I'm being stupid. You love turtles. You probably would." "I'm that predictable?" Zoe jokes, and the chuckle dies on Rumi's lips. The smile slowly drops from Zoe's face as she looks back and forth between the diorama and Rumi. "I mean, like, yeah, of course I would. I wouldn't be mad if the two ate it, but it's, you know?" The silence that stretches between them makes her a little uneasy. Silence between them had been far and few between after they started to get into the groove of things. This particular stillness feels too much like being stalked by tiger sharks in dark, murky waters. "What would you have wanted?" Zoe blurts out. It's the only question that comes to her mind. Rumi tilts her head down and stares at the sharks again. Something about the way she looks at them through pretty eyelashes and a small downward quirk of her lips almost looks resentful. "There's more fish in the sea," Rumi mumbles, a small chuckle accompanying her joke. "They can eat something else. They they aren't apex predators, right?" They are, Zoe muses. She can feel Rumi rubbing circles more incessantly into her skin. "They're kind of known for eating everything they see," which proves my point anyway, Rumi says. "They can eat something else." "What if the sharks were starving?" Zoe asks, and Rumi presses her lips tightly together. "And the loggerhead was the only thing they'd found to eat in miles." Rumi turns her head to look at her, merely curious. "Why are you defending them?" "I'm not," she says, matter of factly. "I'm just saying things have stories. You can't villainize a shark for being a shark." Then she squeezes Rumi's hand. "And I can't villainize you and Mira for the things that happened to either of you," she whispers. "I told Mira that in the treehouse. I want you to know that too." She doesn't know what could possibly make Rumi think that she's anything like sharp teeth and killer instincts. By all accounts, her reputation has always been squeaky clean and perfect. But if there is anything she's learned about Rumi over the past few months, it's that a camera can't capture how truly beautiful she is, or what blemishes and blots lie under all the key lights and touch ups. Rumi takes a deep breath, shaky as it is, and looks away from her, back to the diorama, but this time, looks away from her, back to the diorama, but this time to the turtle. Zoe considers it a win. It's a step in the right direction, at least. "Tell me more about the sharks," Rumi asks, a touch shyly, "and the turtle. But I think you almost passed out telling me all about loggerheads with the other display." It makes Zoe breathe out a laugh. "Tiger sharks or sharks in general?" Rumi juts out her lip to think, and Zoe almost coos. "Everything you know about tiger sharks first, then sharks." "We'll be here forever, baby bear," Zoe points out. The pet name makes Rumi smile, almost from ear to ear, but she just shrugs. "Then I'll stay here forever with you." Zoe breathes out a laugh, shaky and jumpy in her throat. um, she swallows, and the way that Rumi's looking at her makes her look back at the tiger sharks. Racks her brain for a fact that Rumi might enjoy, but it's kind of hard to do when she can still feel Rumi's warm brown eyes peering into her face. The nerves. "I think tiger sharks are the fifth largest sharks in the world. Like, obviously, whale sharks are the biggest because they're whale sharks. And then I think it's basking sharks, then maybe great whites. Or mega mouse sharks? Wait, sorry, I'm she laughs breathlessly, then slips her hand out of Rumi's grasp to wipe it on her jeans. She huffs. Tiger shark facts. Hold on. Rumi laughs. She stuffs her hands in her pockets, but she doesn't say anything else. Zoe coughs into her fist. Oh God, I see a word and I'm not gonna. Oh God. Zoe coughs into her fist, stares back at the tiger sharks like they could help her, then blurts out, Duh! Duh! The tiger sharks are a part of the Galeosardonidae family, but they're aplacental viviparous. God, aplacental. Okay, again, that sentence again. Oh my God. Ah, the tiger sharks are part of the Galeosardonidae family, but they're aplacental viviparous. It basically means they give live birth without a placenta. Cool, huh? I swear you've told me a fact like that before, Rumi says, almost to herself. Her laugh comes out a little strained at the end. You remember that? I try to remember everything you tell me, Rumi admits. Sometimes I write them in my journal. Why? So I don't forget what you tell me, Rumi says, like it's the most obvious thing in the world. It's important to you, so it's important to me. God, she's never getting out of here alive. Maybe the whale and squid should just eat her anyway. I think I was talking about something ovoviviparous to you once, Zoe strains, twiddling her hands. Viviparous means the babies are born alive, basically how all mammals give birth. Angular rough sharks are ovoviviparous, and I think I've told you about them. Maybe that's where you heard it from? What does ovoviviparous mean again? Rumi asks her softly, tilting her head in that unfairly charming way. The kids develop inside the mom's body? Zoe nods her head up and down so fast she gets a little dizzy. Yeah, great job. Yeah, um, she squeaks, whipping her head back to the sharks for more backup. She swallows. Back to tiger sharks. Even though they're pretty dangerous, divers can still be comfortable around them. The visibility in their habitats is pretty good, and it lets both divers and sharks be comfortable with each other's body language. Really? Rumi hums. Mm hmm. Zoe racks her brain for more. It gets a little easier the more Rumi stares at her somehow. It's like surrendering herself to the eye of a circling shark. They're they have 50 teeth. Fun fact. It's not as much as, say, a whale shark with 3,000 teeth, but it's still more than us. Exactly 50, Rumi murmurs. Sometimes a little bit less, sometimes a little bit more, but around 50, yeah, she squeaks. Uh, they're sexually dimorphic. The females are the bigger ones. She swears she sees Rumi's eyes graze down to her lips. It sends shivers down her spine. Oh my God, guys, kiss already. But Rumi's eyes are back on hers in that quietly intense kind of way, and Zoe's knees start to grow a little weak. What else? Rumi says quietly. Garbage eaters, she blurts out. They eat everything they can get their hands on, even man made stuff like license plates and tires. But their usual diet is stuff like seals, turtles, dolphins, even other sharks. What about humans? Rumi asks. The husky way she asks it, albeit probably unintentionally, makes Zoe's hair stand on end. Cal is like, I'm sad. They're called man eaters, but they're not that interested in us, she says. Oh, sorry. It needs to be higher. Okay, we're going higher. They're called man eaters, but they're not that interested in us, she says, her voice a little high. I think they only have about 100 unprovoked attacks on record. Great whites have about 300. Rumi takes a step closer to her. Zoe inhales deeply. Their jaws are pretty different from other sharks too, she blurts out. Oh God, I need to squeeze something. My God. Oh God. Oh God. Okay. Their jaws are pretty different from the other sharks too, she blurts out. They're square shaped, kinda. Other sharks are more rounded. Other predatory sharks also have fewer cutting teeth on the lower jaw, but tiger sharks have an almost even number on both jaws. Yeah? Rumi whispers. They can detect electric fields too, she says, her body tingling with what feels like excitement. Each word that tumbles from her mouth is starting to sound more and more like when she lets loose. There's this thing called the ampullae of Lorenzini, which are like super sensitive receptive organs. The open pores on their nose and lower jaw are full of conductive jelly. Electric currents in the water travel through the jelly thing, and then it releases transmitters in their brain and it lets them know. Rumi takes another tentative step closer. If if there's prey nearby, that's actually a pretty cool fact. Sorry, I know we're like getting, but actually that's pretty cool. Rumi tilts her chin down to match her gaze. Jesus Christ, I need to. Ooh. Being this close, Zoe can almost see gold like flecks in Rumi's eyes, or how one iris is a shade of brown lighter than the other. I love that detail. What else? Rumi asks, her voice lowered to a hush that melts with the whispers around them. So much gay panic. Whispers of people at other displays, too consumed to mind the two of them tucked away in the corner, hidden from the gaze of the big whale suspended in the center of the room. There are no eyes on them here. Only Rumi's on Zoe, and Zoe's on her. You can rub their noses where the ampullae of Lorenzini are and put them in a trance, she says, just as quietly as Rumi had. It's called tonic immobility. You can do the same thing if you flip them onto their backs. Oh god, okay. How long do they stay like that? Up to 15 minutes, I think, Zoe says, unable to look away. Something about the blue light shadowing the side of Rumi's face looks so entrancingly beautiful. From the way Rumi's gaze lingers on the curve of her cheeks, she must be noticing the same thing. Give me a second. Give me a second. Tonic immobility. I wonder. Sorry, y'all. I noticed that I was really dark. Sorry. Okay. Zoe swallows hard. She takes a deep breath and explains as clearly as she can. They can also see pretty well in the dark, like a cat or a tiger, I guess. She laughs, breathless and a little delirious. They have a layer of tapetum lucidum behind their retinas, reflective tissue, basically. Cats have the same thing. Dogs, too. It makes their eyesight about 10 times better than ours. Rumi dips her chin lower, looks up at her through her lashes in that pretty, pleading way. What does she have to plead for? There's nothing Zoe wouldn't give her. Some people think that they're solitary creatures, and it's not super wrong, Zoe murmurs. She can feel her heart pounding in her chest. They socialize sometimes, especially when the waters are, like, shallow. They're not like dolphins that have pods, but they can group hunt sometimes. Actually, now that reminds me, they're pretty genetically diverse. They like to migrate a lot, so there's tiger sharks all over the world. Mm-hmm. They're nomadic, she continues. Doesn't really care about glancing over at the sharks anymore, or the turtle. Dolphins tend to try and avoid areas where tiger sharks travel. Some of them have been documented eating terrestrial animals too, like Rumi leans a little closer to her. The blue on her face spreads. Chest hitching, Zoe breathes out. Like sheep or rats. They're preyed on by orcas sometimes, though. But what animal isn't? Remember the tonic immobility thing? Sometimes orcas will hold them upside down to get them. Rumi leans in a fraction more. Immobile, she finishes, her throat tight as she exhales. Rumi's eyelids flutter just a fraction closed. Zoe's gaze drifts to her lips. Oh my god. She would if they do a fake out of this, I'll she would be such a liar if she said she'd never looked at them before. Not through a phone screen, and certainly not when Rumi held her close during movie nights. And then Rumi murmurs, They, um, Zoe says, her voice low and strained. They bite off the fins and then. Rumi tilts her head. Zoe can feel Rumi's breath against her lips, chapped slightly by the cold, growing softer with the warmth. Then Rumi mumbles. Zoe can feel the way her mouth moves. She can feel the promise of her soft warmth ghost against her upper lip, and she can smell the gentle floral mint when Rumi breathes like this, breathes along with her, in tandem like the coming of a wave. It's tonic immobility. Okay, I get what. Okay, I guess tonic immobility is the new word, isn't it? She just didn't expect it to feel this electrifying. The hovering suspension makes it so hard to breathe, but the breath that tickles her lip feels like a buoy that guides her in the storm. Zoe's eyes flutter shut, and she reaches out for Rumi's hand to hold, her lifeline. She feels Rumi exhale so softly against her face that she sighs along with her. The tide pulls back, then the warmth is gone. Rumi has pulled back, and she's looking at her like Zoe is the most precious, fragile gem in a room full of them. Zoe doesn't want her to. Break me, she wants to beg. You have all the money in the world to buy every gem you could ever want. Just break me. You've always had the power to. But Rumi just clears her throat, and she tries her hand at giving Zoe a reassuring smile. It works well enough. Are you hungry? Rumi asks her. I know I am. Okay. Is this a crash out? Do we call this a crash out? I'm just like, ah! Listen, y'all, I did watch the episodes out of like the first 4 episodes of Bridgerton season 4, the episodes that are out right now, and now I'm just thinking of, oh, the prolonged stares. Oh, we get it. We get it. Artie is very normal right now. Exactly. Yes, very normal. Not funny. I mean, they weren't gonna kiss. It's a fucking slow burn for a reason. But I'm just like, ugh. Ugh. Is Jaime here? 500K plus some extra and no smooches. No, I was talking to Chris and Reeve, and I was like, I'm reading this, and I'm like, oh, am I gonna have to tell them that Zoe finally kissed Rui? No. 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 Because we don't do that here. Welcome to Slow Burn Land. I was also talking to my like coworker about this, and I was like telling him about it's been like 500 plus words and like no kiss, and he is like exactly. Zoe did nothing. Zoe did not do a thing, which is the part of the problem here. Okay, I'll continue, y'all. Honestly, me when I was reading that part, breathe, Artie, breathe. Sigh, just like sense and insensitivity. Okay. Zoe exhales softly. She, well, I would say now would be the time to open my DM. Okay, I'll do that actually. Let's do that. We're so chill. We're chilling so hard. I can't show on stream, right? Oh my god. I can't show on stream, right? I can. Okay. I'm sharing on YouTube right now, but I'll also. Oh god, I screamed like crazy. Oh god. Oh my god. Arty stream privileges for real. Like truly. Oh my god. And oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, hi. The camera shaking. My hands are already shaky, and then I have to like show these, and my hands start shaking like crazy. Guys, that's also giving me aquarium flashbacks. If you know, you know. Okay. Okay, let's share this again. It's okay, Arty. It's okay. Okay, I'll keep reading. Zoe exhales softly. She's not exactly disappointed. Exasperated, maybe, but you could have if you wanted to, Zoe tells her, soft and gentle. Oh my god! Sorry, Cinnamoroll. Sorry. Oh my god. She hooks their pinkies and she joins Rumi at her side as they leave the museum. Which has been clicked back into motion after being frozen for so long. There was never any glass between us. You don't have to earn your way in. Rumi looks at her, cautious for a moment. Fuck you! Shut up! Rumi looks at her, cautious for a moment, until the smile on her face starts to look more like relief and joy. I know, Rumi says quietly, her thumb over Zoe's skin again. Then she brings Zoe's hand up to her lips and kisses a knuckle. Just wait until I stop feeling I have to, Rumi says, more like a plea than anything else. Please? Zoe laughs. What a silly thing to ask, because her answer is always the same. Always, Rumi. She won't let Rumi run when she's right there to catch her. She's always been good at catching butterflies. Are you fucking kidding? I hate this. I hate this. Okay, hi. Breaky time. Actual breaky time. The 5 stages of grief is so real. Oh my god. At least you're not alone in your suffering. It's so good though. Oh my god. Oh, no, it's really sweet. I'm just, oh god. Oh, sorry, Artie, but this was so much. Oh, I bet. Oh, I bet. Y'all love seeing me suffer. Okay. We all feel you, Artie. It's okay, we all crash out. Oh, Cal, I've like heard the legends of your crash outs. So like I'm not surprised. I heard through the grapevine about your crash out. Mm. Y'all are funny as hell. They're pretty. Oh my god, Happy is here. Oh my god, hi Remy. Hi. Hello, how are you? You just missed me dying. You just missed me like screaming my face off. This is your alt account. Yeah, it makes sense. Hiya, Artie. We were told to come say hi. Did someone say in the Discord, be like, Artie's crashing out right now? Oh, my voice. It's okay. My voice is strong. I've screamed worse before. Oh, I know. I was in VC and we were told you were losing. Yup. Yup. Makes sense. Makes sense. That'll be me. I'm not surprised. I need to crash those VCs more. I crashed the VC a few days ago, but those VCs are fun. Important to remember that it can always get worse slash better. And to be fair, Jay also told us you're about to crash out. Again, not surprised. So tell me, is there any other crash out moment in this chapter? Because we went fast through this chapter. We don't have much left. I'm cataloging quotes. That's very funny, Dane. Uh That's a very happy response. Thank you. I plead the mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Heard. You were the first quoted on the server. Oh, I bet. I don't remember, but like I wouldn't be surprised. Okay. The next part is Rumi POV, and we're going back in time again. Yay! After we crash out about this, maybe next we crash out about Rumi childhood trauma. Yay! Oh my god, guys, do you see my little Derpy and Huntrix? Well, Derpy, Sussy, and Huntrix, like mini posters. I have like A4 size posters, but I think they're really cute. And also we have the for the record, the signed for the record cover over there. New additions to the wall. That doipy. I want to win. Well, that's because we started the server in a live. Yeah. Yep. Okay, Rumi POV. I'm gonna have another drink. These sections are long. But I haven't been pausing much. Rumi POV. Almost 1,000 hour VC, but I love y'all. Bye, Remy. Have fun. Like Celine had warned her all those years ago, training is tough. She didn't expect it to be anything less than tough anyway. The good things in life don't come from free, and they're things that she needs to work for. If anything, the hard work makes her want to work harder. It lights a fire that she'd never felt before. That kind of fire distracts her from all the soreness and aches and bad thoughts in her head. Honestly, it's kind of fun, at least for the first little while. It's mostly things that Rumi has already kind of picked up from her tutors and years in school, just in a different format. Instead of worksheets and numbers to memorize, she is given counts and mirrors to watch her body. Her music units from school help her pick up on pitch accuracy and harmonies. Beyond this aspect, Rumi's coaches show her how to sit, how to speak, how to breathe. It's all easy to learn, except for the a lot of her coaches don't like the way that she smiles, so they tell her how to smile better, not too wide, and to tilt her chin down. It takes a little longer for her to get that one down. Felt. Honestly, the only thing that makes her uneasy about training with Sunlight Entertainment is the fact that no one praises her. Her teachers back at her old elementary school that she score and that they should be more like her. Sometimes they would even pull her to their desk so they could praise her on her handwriting, the way she articulated herself at her age. Here, in rooms full of mirrors or at tables that feel too cold to the touch, her coaches only tell her where to improve. Some weeks yield long lists for her to keep in mind, while others are succinct enough that she can replay them in her head over and over as she falls asleep. But Rumi is not a beggar. Praise has to be deserved, so she only notes her teachers have to tell her. As she hours of training after her homeschooled studies, for my YouTube is slowing down, I'm gonna open the door. And the radiators are going crazy naturally because it's cold as fuck. But it's so loud. It's so loud. It's so loud. Anyway. As she grows, the days get longer. 2 hours of training after her homeschooled studies become three, then four, then eventually eight, 10, sometimes 12, especially on weekends when she finishes her homework early. With a brain as passionate and fired up as hers, it happens more often than it doesn't. The days melt together, so much so that Rumi visibly startles when a coach reads off her profile chart and tells her that she's 13 years old. His eyes flick up to her in confusion when she flinches, back to reading out the rest, her weight, height, and the things that she needs to improve. She still feels like she's 8.5 sometimes, like the scared kid on the hospital bed with a headache and a glass of orange juice to sip at while people kept giving her pitying looks. But Rumi forges on. It's what her parents would have wanted for her, even when she trains and works for so long that 3 days straight of sore feet from constant work only feel like 3 hours to her. Honestly, it isn't so bad. Her life and training definitely aren't as bad as the others is, from what she heard through the grapevine. Celine makes sure that she and the other trainees under Sunlight Entertainment get home to their families no later than 8 p.m. Coach through the walls for serving her and the other for lunch. But that and the third in the F category with all the other rookies and instead started off at B in the monthly rankings meant that there were two cohorts that she would meet, the ones who worshipped the ground she walked on, and the ones who glared at her and whispered that she was too spoiled and be here, that everything was handed to her on a silver platter, that she never had to think about working a job outside of training like the rest of them, that Celine's fondness for her was the only reason why the trainees at Sunlight are treated better, that she got extra special treatment. They're not wrong. Her privilege is the reason why she works so hard. She needs to earn it. There's a reason why she prefers the girls who scowl to the ones who fawn over her. It's also why, when permitted and elective, she uses it to train some more instead of napping like the other girls. Sometimes the girls will ask her if she'd like to spend her Sunday off with them to blow off steam. Tteokbokki or the arcade, they usually cite. I can't, is Rumi's reply. Every single time, without fail. She always tries to soften the blow and the weird feeling in her chest with a small, apologetic smile. I like to practice on Sundays. Eventually, the girls stop asking, stop approaching her. She starts to grow a reputation of Sunlight Entertainment, the golden girl who turns everyone who tries to touch her into frozen gold. Everyone read Golden Girl by Gwen Strikes. Um, and don't scream at me when you get to the plot twist. Anyway, which is okay, Rumi always tells herself. The trainees never last long. The girls that she practices with will end up either too homesick and rush back home on the first flight they find, or eliminated by coaches who scream at them for every misstep. She doesn't even dance well, the girls would always murmur. I bet she doesn't even work that much when she's gone. She's just putting on a show. Why is she working so much? She'll be the first one to get into the new group anyway. She'll find her girls eventually, the girls who'll stay by her side, It's part of why she works so hard. If she works hard enough, she'll eventually open her eyes to a world where she's Ryurumi, an idol among a group of girls who help her carry the burden fastened to her shoulders like a cross. It's what's promised to her. Well, what was promised to her. For a company party, Rumi wears the most age appropriate dress she can find in her closet. She sweats in the car next to Celine, but she minds herself and remembers to keep her chin up high and to wipe her sweat on her thighs as inconspicuously as she can. For what it's worth, Celine doesn't chide her this time for her manners. It means her training is working to some degree. There, Rumi smiles and bows and converses with all the people who help fund Sunlight Entertainment. Nowadays, people don't really bring up her parents. She'll get comments here and there, but she doesn't have to grin and bear many condolences anymore. People mostly tell her how proud they would be now. Unlike the other trainees and idols who walk around the building to bow and speak of their gratitude, Rumi doesn't walk around with a group. She's used to it, though. Her solitude is easier to deal with than trying to make sure she says the right jokes at the right time with the right people. Rumi bumps into the side of a small table and pain blossoms her breath. But when she sees the looks on the down enough to choke it out. Sorry, I didn't mean sorry for anyone's drinks. Head down. She didn't like the way they were looking at her. Scornful looks from teenage girls at her age are familiar, almost comforting. That she can swallow back and take, even if it feels bitter in her mouth. It's the stares from men that she can't. She's much younger, but now that her papa isn't here to steer her away or go speak to them out of her earshot, it's like the mask has fallen. She can't take the way their hands linger on her shoulders or waist whenever she takes pictures with them. She abhors the way they ask her for a smile or to come sing for them. Celine and Bobby probably wouldn't like knowing that sometimes they kiss her cheek, pull her into their laps, but this is to whispers from other idols she's spoken to and patients. So yes, those are much better than what she could have caught in a crowd trying to shimmy their way through the condensed rows of small tables. She swears to herself. Behind her, the table that she'd bumped into sparks to life. Whether they're aware that she can still hear them, Rumi doesn't know. She doubts they really care. Did you see that? One mutters in disdain. Black dress to a party like this? It's like she's asking to be whored out. She is 13. I'm gonna kill some bitches. I'm gonna kill some bitches. At least it's not backless, another snorts. Rumi tries to tune out the conversation, but she can't. You have to give her some points for trying to hide how much attention she wants. Do you think she bumped into our table so we'd notice her? She's been doing that all day, a third voice cries out, shrilly and loud, like all tweens are. But the snark in her words makes Rumi want to close her eyes. Oma said she saw her trip in front of Sunlight's biggest investors recently. She probably thinks she's special because Kim Celine likes her, the first voice remarks, humble enough to lower her voice. Please, it's not enough that they're making a whole group centered around her. What a narcissist. She won't last long anyway. Amma says girls like her only get ahead because of how pretty and rich they are. She'll crash and burn before we know it. I hope so. I can't believe Sunlight even thought. Rumi rubs her fingers over her dress. She mentally pleads with the people in front of her to get through the stupid food line so she can make her way through. She doesn't want to be here. Celine did warn her that things like this would happen. She's seen it countless times already. when the trainees don't think she's still in the studio with them or on social media when she scrolls through the hashtag with her name. For every fan that she has, there's an even more dedicated hater who wishes her nothing but the worst. It'll only get worse when she debuts. Bobby told her not to take it to heart. She really doesn't. She knows she deserves worse, so the things that they tell her only sting like a honeybee. A brief sense of pain until she realizes that the pain comes from someone just trying to protect themselves and be reasonable. Come on, come on, a fourth voice pipes up, lazy and deeper than the shrill three girls. You're acting like she kicked your puppy in front of you. There's a pause. Oh, 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 oh. Wait, it's not who I think it is, right? Wait, wait, wait. Okay. 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 RAFO. Okay. Or Rafa, whatever you say it. Okay. Come on. A fourth voice pipes up, lazy and deeper than the shrill three girls. You're acting like she kicked your puppy in front of you. There's a pause. The people in front of her are starting to shuffle ahead. She's wearing the same exact dress Jayan is wearing. The same voice says, painfully bored. Actually, wait, my mistake. Black is the current season. Jayan's was last. There's a couple of scattered snickers from the table and a weak protest. And she bumped a table. It's packed in here, so what? Are you defending Ryu? I don't care who she is. I don't even know who she is. Do I look like I know everyone at this party? The bored girl says with a snort. You can go to my brother for that and stop wasting your time with me if that's what you care about. I'm just saying, there's 1,000 other things we can talk about. Talking about her is making me yawn. You you just don't get, another stammers. Talk about something else. The bored girl insists, peeved. I'm so bored. I've been here for 3 hours and my parents still don't want to leave. Tell me something that won't bore me to death. The girls at her table start to stammer as they try to come up with other. Rumi looks over her shoulder to try and catch the eye of her reluctant hero, but then, up ahead, she sees a giant hand waving in the air and an unmistakable Rumi. Psst. Oh, that's fine. Oh, Rumi, psst, Rumi. She lights up. Rumi sneaks past the adults in front of her to squeeze over to where Bobby is. He's holding two plates in his hands and sporting a proud smile. Nabbed some appetizers for you while you were talking to someone, he says proudly. I remembered how much you liked the Yuko and Jangogui. Uh, Jangogui. Made sure to stay far, far away from the lobster for you. I know how much you hate it. Nothing matters! Nothing matters! Okay. I don't hate it, Rumi replies. But her nose wrinkles at the mention of lobster anyway. Oh my god, my mascara going everywhere as always. Okay. Bobby only laughs. She out a plate to her, full of her party favorites, and Rumi grins despite herself. Want it? She takes it, and when she starts to give him her deepest thanks, he stops her with a big head shake. Don't be. It's my job to care about you, remember? Why did that why did I want to do like a southern thing? I don't know. It's my job. It's my job to care about you, remember? Bobby exclaims. Eat up. You're going to be here a while if the look on Celine's face has anything to say about it. Rumi sighs through her nose and plugs her disappointment by shoving a spoonful of Yuko into her mouth. It helps, a little. Did something happen while I was gone? Rumi asks, a little worried. I wasn't weird with the twins, was I? Was the joke I made about them too weird? Should I say sorry? Should I draft an apology? You're fine, you're cool, absolutely coolio. Bobby dismisses with a laugh. He pokes around with his own dish as he says, just want to let you in on some updates. They were going to talk to you tomorrow morning with the other girls, but I feel like you should know first. Something about the way he says it, quiet and much too tender, makes Rumi instantly suspicious. Bobby is a kind man. She wouldn't have learned to occasionally take treats or a gentle scratch from a hand that reaches out to her if it wasn't for his presence in her life. Sometimes, though, he's just too easy to read. What happened? She asks. She puts down her plate, her stomach suddenly too nauseous to keep anything down. Are are they letting me go? Was I No, goodness. No, Rumi, you kidding? You're their North Star, Bobby says, eyes wide. It's like it never crossed his mind that Rumi would ever think anything different. Then he deflates, and Rumi starts to get an idea of what he's about to say to her. In fact, they love you, Rumi. Anyone would be stupid not to, Bobby adds gently. He too has put down his plate full of favorites to talk to her instead. The conversation around them makes it a little hard to hear him, and yet Rumi latches onto every word. They love you so much that they want you to debut soon. Oh, Rumi lets that hang in the air, and Bobby says nothing more. In fact, he's avoiding her eye. Why is that so bad? Isn't that the plan? I mean, Celine told me that they wanted me to debut as early as they can and when I'm ready, and I feel ready, I think, but not, well, not like that, Bobby says quickly. He sucks in a deep breath to center himself, and he lowers his plate to look at her. His big eyes are full of empathetic sadness, and the pit in Rumi's stomach grows. They don't want you to debut in a group, he says, almost like an apology. They think that you would be a better fit if you debuted as a solo artist. It would give you more flexibility, apparently. He scratches the back of his neck, still unable to look her in the eye. I mean, yeah, you gotta agree with some of those arguments, but at the same time, I wish they would have included you in the conversation. Or maybe they did. Is that what you want? I don't mind bringing it up in the next meeting to see if. No, Rumi blurts out. He raises his eyebrows at her in surprise, and Rumi clears her throat to try again. I mean, no, no, it's. I like the idea, Rumi says, as quickly as she can. She remembers what the girls said about her, and the sickness in her stomach spreads to her legs and throat. Still, she manages to get out. I think I'd just slow the other girls down if I got into a group. Going solo is probably better for everyone, she finishes in her head. Bobby regards her with a look. She squirms under his gaze, but Bobby doesn't let her go so easily. He knows her too well. He claps her on the shoulder and he starts, voice low with pity. Rumi, you don't have to say yes just because. I know, she says quickly. There's a part of her that wants to run from this conversation as fast as she can. I'm okay with it, I swear. His frown deepens. Being okay with it isn't the same as being jazzed. I think it's just from all the talking and dancing I've been doing all day, she promises. I'll be more excited in the morning. I'm just super tired right now, you know? His eyebrows rise, and the worry begins to melt away from his shoulders. Rumi tries to hide her sigh of relief. Well, if you ever change your mind, there's no shame in asking someone to reconsider. You know I'd fight tooth and nail for you. Rumi loosens a breath. I know, Bobby. Thank you. For what it's worth, he starts, his smile warm. I think you'll be a really good artist, kid. Everyone else would look up to you. Something tightens around her neck, the clasp of a flat collar choking her with words she knows Bobby meant as comfort. The guilt feels as heavy as her sadness. Thank you, she only repeats, quieter this time. Nearby, a group of girls her age erupt into giggles. Her shoulders tense, too used to the idea that the laughter could be at her. Sorry, I saw what the next POV is. Too used to the idea that the laughter could be at her expense until she realizes that they're only looking at each other, eyes twinkling with a brightness that she's seen in so many of her fellow trainees just weeks before they're crushed by adults who see their innocence as detriment. She wouldn't wish this kind of feeling onto those people. She wouldn't wish this life on anyone else. Rumi has never been the type to be good at being a kid anyway. Being a child has never suited someone like her. She's never gotten the hang of dakchi, and the insects that always seem drawn to her peers have never gone up to her. She's never been really good at catching butterflies. She likes to watch the pretty, innocent things pass her by as she stands still instead. Rumi has never been permitted to hold such fragile things or to be held so delicately herself. Real nice. Real nice. Mm-hmm. Artie saw pink candy indeed, and Artie is very excited. Yay, parallels. Um, yay. Okay. oh, oh god, she's spewing some rich bitch shit again. Oh man, it's good to be back. Ooh, this next section is fun, I bet. Was that part not supposed to click that it was Mira? How do you choose the fics you read? Right now I'm just reading two fics, y'all. I am not in a position to read any more than that. I'm like tired all the time and like mostly working every day. So yeah, these are the two fics I'm reading right now. I'm reading The Art of Spoiling Pretty Girls, but that comes out like much slower than the others. So it's mostly Gimme That Candy Floss and Two's Company. But yeah, I've been reading Two's Company since the summer, and I started reading Gimme That Candy Floss because I was like, oh shit, there's something here. So that's how I chose to read. I There was a lot of excitement around it, and I thought it would be fun. Okay. Oh, don't fall. Gonna stretch a little. Oh, oh god. Mira POV. New York City isn't in Mira's top 5 places to travel. It might not even be in the top 10. After spending so and Claire's crackfic, true. I do read the I do read that one. I do read the when I'm in the fic, I do read it because I think it's funny. After spending so much of her life traveling to every corner of the globe for business and modeling opportunities, it takes a lot to impress her. Not that she would ever tell Zoe, though. Zoe looks too happy and sparkly eyed as she takes in the view around them, or sings at the top of her lungs about wet dream tomatoes for Mira to want to say anything to dampen her mood. It does, however, make her want to offer to take Zoe to other places to see how happy she'd be there, too. Mykonos is pretty this time of year. Aspen is nice if Zoe would like to stay a little closer to home, and Mira sung enough praises about Sweden for even Zoe to take notice. The thought of bringing a smiley Zoe to Toshima City, where she can raid the Pokemon Center for as long as she'd like, makes her heart soar. It makes her heart climb higher when she tries to imagine Rumi, a veteran of the Pokemon cause, helping Zoe pick out a plushie. If she's being honest, NYC is slowly climbing up her list of favorite places. and only because Zoe keeps making her see the bright side of things in the city. Then again, she's pretty sure that if she took Zoe anywhere at all, Zoe would make her love the place in less than 48 hours. Zoe tends to do that, focusing on the light instead of the shadows. A sunflower who looks towards the sun. Mira will forever be grateful to be the gardener who gets to tend to her and watch her look beautiful in the morning glow, to watch her grow more beautiful with each passing day. It's why, when they come back from their fancy dinner and Mira finishes talking to her stupidly incompetent brother about how to put out their latest corporate fire without adding fuel to the flames, Mira greets them with the heater turned up and a kettle full of hot water to warm their bellies with the hot chocolate packets she bought at the corner store. Then, for an evening excursion, Mira and Rumi ask if they can take a trip out of the house for half an hour for a Zoom meeting together. But only if Zoe doesn't mind, and that they can forgo it if she isn't comfortable. They'd only be gone for half an hour at most, in a cafe with their notifications turned on if Zoe needed anything or for them to come back ASAP. But brilliantly beautiful Zoe just smiles and ushers them out of the house with an exclaimed, "Go! I need a long ass hot shower anyway." Which is how Mira ends up trekking down the street with Rumi, the aftermath of a sunset in the dappled black of the sky. Talking to a therapist in the back corner of an idle cafe isn't exactly Mira's idea of, well, ideal conditions. Yeah, I wouldn't say so, but it's better than nothing. It's much, much better than spending another 2 years screaming at each other and going to bed raw and hurt because neither of them knew what to do to salve it. They could have chosen to find another counselor in New York for the half week they're here, but that would require way too much filing in for a tune up session, she'd say. Yeah, oh my God, just the idea of finding another counselor for half a week is crazy. You're crazy. The counselor in Burbank already knows that they're a not couple in couples counseling who need the promise of privacy 10 times more than other clients and who are also vying for the same girl that they both like and are not a couple with. And that one of them is particularly struggling with the concept of honesty with not just one but two non-committed girlfriends. Well, maybe not yet that she has. That alone would fill 6 hours. The intake session and the conversation that they had in Zoe's closet, ha, from weeks upon weeks ago, were already interesting enough. And she's not exactly jazzed to have it happen again. Though that particular talk is the backbone of why they're even here. At least it's why Mira has been so adamant about not missing a session. Some sessions are better than others, not just in their joint counseling, but in their solo ventures. Some days, Mira holds Rumi close, letting her cry into her shoulder until she's too exhausted to keep her eyes open. Other days, Rumi lets her pace the floor, listening as Mira angrily rants about the creaky floorboards her therapist made her pry open. On other days, they emerge relieved, grateful that the poking and prodding didn't agitate the old wounds quite so badly. Today, in New York City with shitty public Wi-Fi, feels like one of those middling days. There are no breakthroughs or anything so horrible that their therapist has to shout over their voices to let the others speak, or a lecture that has both of them tucking their tails between their legs. Nowadays, most of their sessions just consist of, let's start small. What annoyed you about the other this week? And why didn't you say that? And how did you bid for an emotional connection this week? Mira used to curse Gottman and his stupid horsemen for making some of his sessions so difficult. No one likes being flayed out in the open. Nowadays, it just feels like having a masseuse, a nice way to release tension so she doesn't have to scream it. That's a really good comparison. Hi, salty rice. The longer she does it, the easier it gets to work the knots out of her back. so she doesn't mind these middling kinds of days. They can be mildly irritating, like having to walk to her car in the rain, but it's not unbearable. It helps knowing that she'll be warmer and drier on the other side. And after reconnecting with her best friend, how could Mira ever let herself be mad at the rain anymore? Rain waters the flowers and parts the clouds when it's over. There are other things she can be angry at in the world. Okay, and that's time, the counselor says. And Mira snickers under her breath when she sees Rumi's shoulders drop next to her. And yet, despite her crossed arms and Rumi's insistence on sitting pretty with her hands folded in her lap, Mira presses her knee against Rumi's under the table, a small reassurance that she's still here. I'm proud of you both for showing up tonight when you didn't need to, their counselor says, so warmly that Mira looks away to pretend that it doesn't make her feel a little proud of herself, too. Let's hold what we talked about and come back next week when you're back in the city. I know I don't have to say it now, but be gentle tonight. Mira huffs under her breath, mildly fond. Thanks, she says, simple but sincere. I know you said you don't need the extra tip, Yerim, but you make it hard not to. Rumi clears her throat and wipes her hands on her thighs. I don't mean to be a bother, but you said the other week that you were looking into. Oh, yes, Yerim exclaims. She clears her throat and pushes her glasses up. A friend of mine in Seoul is taking new patients starting next month. I can refer you to her whenever you two feel ready to. She pauses for a moment to consider wording to spend more significant time outside of California. They've been here how long? They've been here how long? Mira cringes in words. She doesn't really need that sort of reality check just yet. One thing at a time, her father's light persuasions in asking her to come back, and her agent's urgings to come see him in person to talk about populating her schedule again are already enough. Come get back home and rest, Yerim says warmly. She taps the board on her lap. I've given you both the feedback you need to use as a reflection for next week, but I also wanted to ask, have you thought more about potentially bringing Zoe into a future session? Or perhaps when you seek a counselor in Seoul? She's asked about it a couple of times already. Apparently, their situation isn't the oddest thing that she's ever seen come through her doors, so Yerim doesn't even bat an eye. But Rumi stiffens at her side. We were going to talk more about it this week. Mira pipes up for her. Underneath the table and away from any potential prying eyes, Mira slips her hand into Rumi's and feels the light poke of her bracelet. She squeezes, a small comfort that she's happy to give, or maybe even the next. We'll let you know. Zoe is a whole new consideration. Honestly, Mira has no problem with asking her to come along. The only issue is that while she and Rumi aren't exactly a couple, Zoe is very much uncharted waters. Well, less so nowadays. She's definitely in love with her best friend, and she's pretty sure Zoe knows that. If the tickles and teasing and offers to buy Zoe all the turtles she could ever want, and the time she laughed with Zoe on the couch and declared, I love being here with you, and I love you, yes, in that way. Close your mouth, dumb nuts. Don't say it. Don't say it. Nothing will. Mira is just hoping that Rumi and Zoe can figure things out first. Whatever those things are. It's kind of funny watching them dance around each other with two left feet, just as much as it is sad. Watching her ex, maybe not ex, one day, God who fucking knows, fumble her best friend every day makes her want to close her eyes out of secondhand embarrassment. Rumi, the number one fumbler, indeed. Like, oh my God. Her tendency to think in extra adjectives nowadays is all Zoe's fault. That's so cute. That's really, really cute. Yerim nods and doesn't pry. Mira likes that about her. She'll give them the harsh truths, and Has many times in the past, but she doesn't step on any toes. Have a good night, you two, she only says. You too, Rumi replies, just as sincerely. Then they're packing up Mira's laptop, and back home to the very tiny Airbnb they go. If Mira had it her way, or Rumi for that matter, they would have posted Zoe up on the most lavish suite in New York City. They would have made sure that her every whim was attended to, every single one, no matter how big or small the request might be. But Zoe insisted, and as promised, Choi Zoe got whatever she wanted. Besides, maybe bowing their heads and exploring Zoe's world now and again is a better change of pace. The last thing they would ever want is to make Zoe feel small. Zoe will only feel big if they let her define the scale herself. As they walk down the street, Rumi instinctively widens the space between them to make room for the pole up ahead. Mira rolls her eyes. She clicks her tongue, then yanks Rumi to her side by the arm. Wait, Mira also has that superstition? Rumi squeaks, almost like a sharp yip, and Mira can't help but hiss out a short laugh between her teeth. You and your superstitions, Rumi accuses. My friend has that superstition, and she would be so. She would like get up on our ass about it. She would be like, we need to, we shouldn't let a pole separate us. We should don't split the pole. Don't split the pole. But honestly, I don't blame her. Like right now, the way their relationship is, I don't blame her for not wanting to split the pole. um, she acquiesces to Mira's request, though, and they don't split the pole. Good. Mira would have lectured her if she did. It's less that Mira actually believes in shit like this and more that she just doesn't want to tempt it. Yeah, makes sense. Effort, basically. They keep all the luck they can muster, indeed. Effort, basically. Why split the pole when they can take half a second longer to squeeze into one side of the sidewalk? Zoe would certainly agree. She definitely would. Mira used to think that Rumi didn't take more care with things like this because she didn't care about them. It took a no-nonsense Korean lady in Burbank to get it through their thick pink head that Rumi just liked the more practical things. Through her thick pink head. Yeah. The actions, the journaling and therapy homework that she would insist they do no matter how stupid it sounded. Rumi likes the things that she knows to be true and tangible because it makes her feel in control. Honey, we're home, Mira drawls as she opens the door. The sound of Zoe's laughter has her smiling before she even steps inside. From the shy smile on Rumi's face, she could wager that those champagne bubble like giggles have the same effect on Rumi. Mira shuts the door behind them as Zoe pokes her head out from the bathroom. Her hair is still wet, but she has a white towel draped over her shoulders. The sight of Zoe with her hair down, wet, makes Mira want to get on her knees and promise to sell her fortune and run away with her. From the way Rumi, oh my god. From the way Rumi gawks at her side, they seem to be on the same wavelength. Again, Zoe grins when she sees them, and her eyes widen when she realizes what's awkwardly cradled in Rumi's arms. A bouquet in an included vase. Whoa! She cries, shaking her head at them. Who's that for? Like you don't know the answer, Mira says with a snort. She slips out of her boots as she asks, how was your shower? Didn't slip in there while we were gone? I did, actually, wiping the shell of her ear with the towel on her shoulders. Hit my head on the floor and bled to death. Hit my head on the floor and bled to death. You're talking to a ghost now. Ooh. Mira laughs and hangs up her coat on the hook next to the door. Rumi's still standing in her boots in the doorway. Mira pokes her in the side to get her to move. Startled, Rumi straightens up and blurts out, For you! We got these for you! Mira sighs through her nose, though fondly. I just told her that. Ignore her, Zoe scolds, casting a light glare towards Mira. She softens her smile at Rumi and coos. That's really sweet. The two of you didn't have to. We passed by a florist on the way here, Mira explains, rolling her neck to get the kinks out. If we didn't stop and get you anything, I feel like Rumi would have stayed up all night overthinking it. No, I wouldn't, Rumi argues. A quick shared glance with Zoe begs to differ, but they say nothing about it, other than pressing their lips together to suppress their smiles. Either of you want to shower right now? Zoe asks as she steps out of the bathroom. Her smile is disarming as much as it is, simply put, unfair. Thanks for letting me use your hairdryer, by the way. It's so good I asked you for a link, but I don't think I'd be able to pay it off even with a payment plan. Rumi laughs. You're welcome to use it as much as you like, sweet pea. Or I can always buy you one. Take the offer, Mira says, huffing. She takes Rumi's coat and dusts the back of it before setting it on the hook next to hers. She's never offered that to me, not even once. Because you could buy it yourself, Rumi argues. You would never send me the link to it, she argues back. Or the name. What did you like? What did you like asking? Did you like me asking for your hair dryer all the time? She sighs in exasperation at the memory of having to constantly beg Rumi for the privilege, sometimes with a cup of tea, sometimes orally, or just whining, which sucked significantly more than the other two. Sorry, you know what I was thinking. I know what that word means. I know that word means other things. Sorry. I was like, oh. Okay. Do you mind if I shower first? Rumi asks quickly. I had a really long day. I'll let you use my hairdryer if you let me. Um, Thinking like a businesswoman. Mira deadpans. She rolls her eyes, but holds out her arms so Rumi can drop the bouquet into them anyway. But fine. I was going to tell you to anyway. You smell like ass. Rumi huffs. She's only a fraction away from stomping her foot, and Mira bites back a laugh. Zoe, on the other hand, is not so merciful. Then Rumi disappears to get a change of clothes, and Mira walks over to the sink to fill the vase the bouquet fill the vase the bouquet is in. Zoe pops her head over her shoulder to watch. Did Rumi pick out the flowers? Mira sighs out in amusement at the memory of it. How'd you know? Well, most of it is pink, Zoe teases. I don't think you're that egotistical to get a pink bouquet. I think she picked it because it reminded her of you. She picked it out for you, Mira points out. And Mira shakes her head with a chuckle. She plops the flowers down near the sink and admires them for a moment. Then Zoe's tugging at her hand to lead her to the couch. She lets her, because as much as she hates being told what to do, Zoe will forever be her exception. Mira lays her head in Zoe's lap while Zoe clicks through the selections on the TV. She scrolls on her phone while Zoe hems and haws, but nothing really catches her eye. They're typical couch activities. No one can really blame her for finding Zoe's thighs nicer to lay on than couch cushions. What'd you do while we were what did you do while we were gone? While we were gone, Mira asks casually. Zoe's fingers are threaded through her hair, and she actively resists the urge to close her eyes and enjoy the feeling. Can't imagine you were in the shower for an hour. I mean, I've been in the shower for an hour before, Zoe muses, fingernails scratching lightly into Mira's scalp. Mira, almost honest to God, purrs. But like with the water shut off after the first 15 minutes. God, I didn't need to know that. Mira declares, setting her phone down on her chest to look up at Zoe. She wrinkles her nose. Zoe merely giggles, and Mira counts the freckles she can see splattered across Zoe's nose. When she was a child, she always wondered how many freckles Zoe had on her face. She made a bet with herself that she'd count them and find out someday. She still isn't even halfway there, always too distracted by Zoe's pretty lips when she smiles or the way she lights up when she laughs. But she'll get there. They have time. I was playing Animal Crossing with Genu and roasting the shit out of his island layout, Zoe tells her. And then I got bored of making fun of him and looked up things to eat in New York. What, didn't like the food at the restaurant you and Rumi went to? Mira snickers. It was fine, Zoe insists. And it would be a perfectly acceptable thing to say if it wasn't a Michelin starred restaurant. Asked for extra ketchup on the caviar, which was nice. Mira's glad for her poker face practice. When we left, when we left, it was still a little peckish, though. Don't tell Rumi that. Mira laughs at the quickness of her request. Lips are sealed, she promises. Wait, what? What do you mean we can play sorry? We can't play sorry because Rumi can't make freaking count to 8. What is that? I don't know what that is. Sorry. I got distracted. Lips are sealed, she promises. Zoe beams happily at that. And how is your guys she struggles for a way to phrase it, and Mira opens her mouth to come to her rescue, but Zoe finishes your thing. Mira huffs at the phrasing, and Zoe tugs her hair to get her to stop. The tug wipes the smirk on her face. She clears her throat, then says, "It was fine. Lots of choppiness, but..." She shrugs. "What can you do?" Is all Zoe says. Not dismissively, but more like she's trying her best not to ask questions. Mira opens her mouth to say something, anything, really, because the last thing she wants is for her friend to act like she ever has to hold back her tongue with her or with them. But the TV catches their attention. Zoe had flipped the cable. The news station it defaulted to is talking about the Kang's latest corporate failure and Kang Minja's speech meant to quell it, and Mira sighs through her nose. Seeing her father's tight face on the screen is the last thing she wants today, especially after getting off the phone with him a couple of hours ago when he tried persuading her to return and help with the family. I hear your modeling inquiry. Oh, sorry, that's the father. I hear your modeling inquiries are starting to dry up, he told her over the phone, his flat voice still making her hackles rise even from thousands of kilometers away. Maybe it means it's time to come home. Bet on the right horse this time, Mira. We need to kill him. Of course, he only asks when they need help. Her absence is only noticed by her family when she's needed as a Kang. He isn't a good man. Nonetheless, she is his favorite daughter. Without another word, Zoe changes the channel. Mira hopes Zoe can tell how thankful she is, even with the quiet that hangs between them. Each channel is more boring than the last. Not even the cartoons catch either of their attention, and the sounds of 2000 sitcom audience laughter start to grate on her the longer Zoe flips through them. But then Zoe pauses on another news station, a local one this time, with an anchor talking excitedly about Rurumi's supposed arrival in New York to perform at an event tomorrow night. Her first performance in months, the anchor exclaims, shaking her head in disbelief. Here in the heart of New York. Can you believe that, folks? Tim, what do you think? Mira barks out a laugh when the news station cuts to an old performance. Rumi looks so young in that video. Mira can't remember when it's from off the top of her head. From the wobbly smile on Rumi's face and the length of her hair, probably right before they met, when she was 17, if she had to guess, purely from the glint in Rumi's eyes. So hungry for more screams in the already packed stadium. Oh, hey, Zoe comments happily. I got my record signed right before she performed there. Confused, Mira cranes her neck upwards to look at her. She searches her brain for what records Zoe means. Then she remembers Zoe's Rurumi album sitting on her shelf. Her shrine, really. But Zoe would always whine when she called it that. One particular album sat at the very center. The Zoetrope one. The Zoetrope? Zoetrope? The Zoetrope? The Zoet? I don't know what that means. The Zoetrope? Sorry, looking it up. A 19th century optical toy consists of a cylinder, series of pictures on the inner surface that, when viewed through slits with a cylinder rotating, gives an impression of a continuous movement. Oh, I didn't know what that was called. That makes sense. A zoetrope one. It had Rumi's young, smiling face on it. Zoe had shown it on her streams a couple of times, citing it as her prized possession. That's so cool. That's so cool. Okay, but are Zoe and Mira gonna be in the crowd at her performance or hiding around stage? They probably are. Oh my god! I'm about to pull an Artie. And I just noticed I had my charge like fully. I had my phone fully charged up, but alas, it's never enough. Never enough. Come in here. Okay. We're gonna die. No, you didn't die. I saved you. Okay. Cool. Mira remembers touching it the first time Zoe let her into her room all those months ago. Zoe had squeaked and asked her to put it down, and Mira complied, albeit with a laugh and a bruised ego. When you said you had an album signed by her, Mira says slowly, I thought you meant you ordered it. You went to see her? Zoe bobs her head proudly. When I was 15, baby, she happily exclaims. Begged my dad to let me travel as a late birthday gift so I could attend her fan signing. Mira lets that digest. She wonders why Zoe never brought it up, unless she had and Mira had been too blinded by her anger with Rumi to really hear it. Something Yedim had brought up more than enough times. But why hadn't... Eki? Rumi calls sweetly from the bathroom. Zoe perks up immediately and looks over. Mira bites down on the inside of her cheek to keep from laughing at the look on Zoe's face, lit up with joy, as any good fan at the sight of their favorite idol. Yet there is a softness around the edges, a sincerity that comes from knowing an actress beyond the lights on stage. Sorry if I'm bothering you two, Rumi says again, poking her head out. I just can't find my dryer and thought I just can't find my hair dryer and thought, oh, that's my bad, Zoe shouts, her voice high and loud. She sits up and Mira almost falls off the couch. Angry, Mira fights against the laugh. Sorry, I always forget where I put things. Let me... Mira watches, or listens more like, from where she is as Zoe and Rumi dance around the bathroom, full of oh sorries and wait, it might be here and can you scooch over a little so I can? Their shy laughter and apologies make Mira smile. She melts back against the couch to scroll through her phone again, though she lowers the volume on the TV to keep an ear out for the two of them. Their joy is sweeter to listen to than music, and she knows it as intimately as her own. She exhales softly through her nose. They can figure it out. And if they can't, well, she's always there to knock a vase or a signed record off the table to bring attention to it. That passed by so quick. That was 25K, and we read that in 3 hours and 42 minutes. Wild. I mean, good chapter. That's the thing with GTC. I usually go more fast paced. Like, I also take less breaks, so like locked in for Zorumi. We were locked in as hell. That was awesome. Also, we didn't get the snippet. We didn't get that snippet in this chapter. The we're having sex snippet. I accidentally fell asleep like an hour and you lulled me to sleep, Marty. I mean, how has happened before will happen again. Yes, that snippet got moved. I was imagining. I thought so. But yeah. I just noticed and I was like, The letter thing with Zomira has been basically foreshadowed since like chapter 1, LMFAO, and everyone was in the dark with Zorumi thinking I forgot them or tossed them into the they'll fall in love either way category. Well, I think not. Because they were subtle on purpose. Wait. The letter thing was basically foreshadowed since like chapter 1. Everyone was in the dark with Zorumi thinking I forgot them or tossed them into the Oh, I see. Because they were subtle on purpose. I get it. Okay. The love at first sight tag was hidden in plain sight. Have some examples. Chapter 6, Rumi mentions Zoe's foul possession being her Rurumi records. Chapter 11, Zoe mentions something about 10th grade. I'll need to see these. I'll need to go to these later on. Chapter 12, Zoe nearly tells them about her signed record, but Rumira cut her off literally and metaphorically. Chapter 21, Zoe has an old band account. A Joey somewhere. A Joey somewhere. Chapter 23, you get it, lol. Sometimes love is found in places you'd never expect, but wouldn't be so surprised to. Anyway, look forward to chapter 26. It'll be mostly fluffy since I had to split it into 2 again because I'm grinding out a documentary proposal and I'm traveling to see my girlfriend for Valentine's. Woo! Also, sorry about the fake out with the last snippet. I moved the scene, but it still exists. You will like the reason why, I swear. Okay. Chapter 26 snippet. The name isn't a typo. Don't worry, lol. Okay. The name isn't a typo. Don't worry, lol. Hey Siri, play Mastermind by Taylor Swift. It's not, Rumi assures her. She's being oddly calm about all of this. Maybe it's just from being so shocked that her body has reverted back to being at peace. As a gay, Joey picks up her head. Ally? It's important to me that all my fans know that I would love them no matter what, Rumi says sincerely. Oh, yeah. Right. Because Zoe had mentioned at the signing Rumi saying her name wrong. As a gay ally, that's so funny. To Zoe, Zorumi first proper meeting flashback. Yeah. A Joey somewhere, lol. And Rumi almost asked out a fan when she was 17 too, yeah. I feel like I remember that. Okay. Yay. We have the art to go through now. Yippee. 69 comments. Nice. Okay. Love at first sight tag isn't there for nothing. No, yeah. It's weh. So the true love at first sight moment is the signing then. Makes sense. Okay, I've probably seen most of this art because like I wasn't avoiding spoilers this time around. But let's go over here. Flip camera. Here's a funny thing by Orshi. Probably have seen it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's time for bed, guys. Good night, Jax. Oh my god, good night, Pommy. Okay, guys. I'm literally having a sleep.
It's silly. Yeah, the 24-page analysis on GTC Rumi by Cactus. I don't think I can read that over here. That's like an additional, is it like 7K or something? I'm gonna read that on my own time and check it out, y'all. I also retweeted it, but like Cactus, I'll like show it over here. Like Cactus posted about it. So yeah, it's 7K. So I won't do that right now. Have some dog Rumi art. I feel like I've seen this. Yes. Classic. What's the point of a pedigree if you can't perform? Yeah. Have a GTC painting. Yeah, I saw this one. I'm pretty sure I saw all of these, TBH. The rat Murat. Ooh, I didn't see this one. Rat Mira because Rumi called Mira a rat in chapter 24. and I thought it would be cute. Interesting. That's cute with the scar and everything. That's cute. Um, have some Rumira based on. Oh yeah, I saw this one. Rumira based on Time After Time. Yes, I did see this one. In fact, yeah. I mean, Sarah's art is always gorgeous. So yeah. Um. Oh, I skipped mine. I'm literally here. Hi, that's us. Yeah, if you haven't seen our 36 questions cover, um do I force you guys to listen to it again as an outro song? Um yeah, I might, you know. Why did I take the charge off? Come over here. Okay. So yeah, we might check that out later. Um 6-7 GTC Zoe. Of course I saw this. I mean, yeah. And then it gets faster, right? Or like is that no, a faster one is just over here. Yeah, yeah. The faster one and the sad version. It's so silly. Um oh yeah, all the Prince art. I think again, I've seen all of these, but like oh yeah. Oh yeah, I've definitely this moment was fucking crazy. This moment was fucking crazy. If you were there, you know. Um and yeah, we can look at these again because it's Prince's art. We can always look at Prince's art, you know. Oh yeah, classic ice cream shop moment. My hubby and I are celebrating our an anniversary today, our 3rd-year anniversary actually. Um, no, like Rumi has been crazy lately. 3. Oh, press for more gay bitches. Oh wait, I actually didn't see this one. Wait, this is really cute. Oh my god. This is so cute. Oh, look at them. And 5. Yeah. Yay, bitches number 2. I heard Mira squeal like a fucking mouse over this, so I think it's Mira. I think it's worth showing everybody because y'all are gay. You're never beating the basement allegations. I'm so sorry. I mean, yeah. 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 Wah. Yeah, there's even more on Cal's account. I think she has a problem with commissioning GTC art. I love you. Real as hell. Okay, I'm gonna flip camera. Teehee. It's been almost 4 hours. You know, this I was expecting a 5-hour stream, y'all. I'm like shocked. I'm shocked how fast we went through that. Oh my god. Love to hear them. What's going to happen with Genu in a few upcoming chapters, especially after what Abby said in that one chapter. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure Rumi is bi. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Rumi is bi in GTC. And her breakup with Genu was just like they just didn't work out. Like I don't think it was phones on 7. My phone is on 4 right now. Oh, you pulled an Artie. Oh, your phone is on 7. Well, you're in a better situation than I am. Yeah. No, yeah, she's closeted. Still closeted. So GTC follows the like common headcanon that Mira is a lesbian, Rumi is bi, and Zoe is pan, or just like queer, I think. Which I don't know, that's always been my headcanon as well. Like it's a very popular headcanon, and I think it makes sense. But yeah. I'm out. Love the live. Bye, Aaron. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Do I force you guys to listen to my cover? Because it is mentioned here. Crazy 36. The new cover will be coming soon. I just need re-records. I just need re-records from Nyx. I need to ask Nyx if they're planning on doing re-records actually. I should get that shit figured out, and that will probably go out next week. So that will be Nyx's song. And if you know 36 questions, you can probably guess which song she is doing. Um, I mean, wait, actually, Claire has already like promoted it, so if you've seen Claire's art, then you know which song it's gonna be. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna say goodbye to you two first. Thank you for being here, y'all. Yeah, let me. I'm gonna stop share screen. I'm sorry. I'm glad that you had fun on your birthday, Tegan. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Tegan. I hope it's really, really lovely. Um, anyway, y'all. Bye. Thanks for joining. And stream.